All
Welcome
right.
back to another episode of Talking Tarkov. I'm the Ear Leg Athlete here with,
Hey, Dizzle.
and today we've got a special guest. So let's go ahead and get right into things. First and foremost, Nutshell, care to give a brief introduction and tell everyone where they can find you?
Hiya, it's Nutshell, and you can find me on YouTube under Nutshell Tarkov. So I've pretty much been playing Tarkov for about 3 years, at least dedicated. And so yeah, it's been a
Nice.
wild ride.
Yeah, 3 years is quite a long time to go through a bunch of updates and all the patching, and then being locked on PvP, and then getting access to PVE. Which the majority of your content you make is PVE related, or all your content you make is PVE.
Yeah, so pretty much mainly PvE. And I've probably ended up like kind of getting stuck down that hole now, where I would do PvP stuff, but I feel like everyone
More
who
pressing things
watches
on
me is
PVE, and
now
yeah,
like everyone who watches me now is PvE orientated. So yeah, I don't know, but maybe I'll branch out into streaming or something at a later date when I got a bit more time
yeah, that's fair.
and see how it goes.
Yeah, the vast majority of our viewers are definitely PVE focused, but every now and then I get a few people that are like, "Oh, you should go play PvP." It's like I do, just not nearly often enough because we're always doing stuff over here on PvE. And I mean, it's not a bad hole to get sucked down into. It's actually a pretty good hole. You get all the benefits of just Tarkov gameplay and core, mechanics and everything, without having to deal with a lot of the not so great sides of stuff, like the cheating and just the rampant amount of toxicity that happens over that way, and just a lot of different things going on all at once. PVE is just a much more cleaner, casual environment where you can just focus on playing the game and doing the things you want to do, which is always nice.
Yeah, I think it was the first time I've ever actually listened to music when I played,
Yeah,
like in
typically,
game.
yeah, in PvP there is never time to just chill out and enjoy your music, or like have. I don't like sitting in Discord with a bunch of people if I'm on PvP either, because it's too much
Oh
noise. Like
yeah,
you got to sound whore so much.
yeah. It's not really like that on PvE.
Yeah, no, it's way more chill. But granted, with the AI update they just did, it is they've definitely changed like the aggressiveness to them, the way they react and move, and they're far more likely to go grab cover and lean peek and kind of work together. Have you had some pretty anything that stands out, like any like, oh wow, I didn't expect AI to do that? You had that happen in raid?
Yeah. So literally, I played labs for a video, and I was just showing off some of the areas where you can go for cheap. And I was just going to into Black Room, and then I just hear footsteps, which you don't usually hear um, on PvE like previously, where like they didn't really go in and around. Um, like they kind of spawned, and then I don't know, stayed in the same areas. They didn't really
Yeah, it seemed
move
like they
around
would
a
just
whole
kind of
lot.
path in those smaller areas to themselves.
Yeah, like they'd maneuver a little bit, but they didn't like if they saw you, they kind of just stand still, and then that was it. Like they wouldn't actually chase you down or move towards you or anything like that. But I heard him voice line, and then I like ducked into black, and then there was like four of them that just came like swooping round. But it was, I took them all out, but it was definitely much better. Like they were actually moving around, and like you had some people like sitting holding an angle. I'm like one like wide swinging you,
Yeah, I think it's
which was
that,
kind of
and
interesting.
yeah, it's happened to Adam a few times. I know it's happened to me, but we'll be clearing a room or a hallway or whatever, and you turn the corner, and there's just a dude sitting there crouched, just dead silent, just ratting you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that is also a thing. It's usually partisan as well.
dude.
That's
I
the
okay,
worst.
so I saw you had posted a video, and you're saying play on local servers to get more spawns.
Yeah, yeah.
Most of my maps I hadn't selected over, they are still on local. I have gone over 7 weeks without seeing Partisan. It is insane. I haven't seen
Really?
the goons. I haven't seen Partisan. Like the regular bosses seem to be spawning frequently enough, but dude, I have not seen. It's probably been closer to 8 weeks since I've seen Partisan now. It's insane. I don't know
Mm,
what's going on.
I'm right there with him. I've seen him once in that same amount of time. So yeah, like we just cannot get Partisan to spawn. I've seen the
Yeah,
goons a couple times, but Partisan one time in probably like 2 months.
yeah, I don't know what's going on there,
Wow.
but yeah,
See,
it's
I had the opposite. Like literally every the amount of times I've killed partisan in raids, like where like you just don't even realize it's him.
Yeah, he's
and
just like off in the distance or something.
yeah, you just think it's random scav. And then he gets to the end. But like recently, yeah, it's been like nearly every raid, at least for me. I saw a
Damn.
lot of people commenting the same thing. And I
Yeah,
know
yeah, you
when I went to so like I don't really have a problem with him, to be honest. Like it's just a bit annoying when like he's always there, or at least like very high chance.
Right.
Because like, you know, you're just like running off and then just like popped in the back of the head. Like I think the example I showed was literally I just checked my second monitor for a second and I just hear him like shouting at me and just get killed before I can even swap back to my like main screen. And I was
Damn.
like, oh, for God's sake.
Yeah,
Um,
it's weird because like it's I ran into him like almost every Lighthouse raid. Like when he was first introduced, like Lighthouse Woods, I would sometimes run into him 5 or 6 raids in a row. And, I was getting to the point where it's like, man, like I'm getting sick of seeing him all the time. But then for whatever reason, as of late, like me and Ryan just we do not see him. And I know other people do because I see so many people talking about how, he's in every raid. And I just don't understand like why some people get him every raid and we don't get him at all.
So I was doing the task escort. I don't know if you have it yet or not, but you have to kill 4
yeah,
PMCs on every map except for streets. And
yeah.
I was going from all those maps for like 6.5 hours or whatever, but like throughout the entire night of the entire stream, we didn't see the goons or partisan a single time. And I was on customs, woods, shoreline, just like rotating between those three because of the issue I ran into. So another really frustrating thing that happened is kind of off topic, but it's part of what I was just describing. I go to reserve to get my kills. I get 3 of them. I'm like, well, I'm not going to Lighthouse. Let's backtrack. We'll go to customs, load back in, go to reserve. I go to customs, my kill count reset. So I go into reserve and I'm like, oh, it must have to be in one raid. So I get the 4 kills. I go back to customs because I was going to go customs to shoreline. I was just going to avoid Lighthouse entirely. Get to customs again, check my kill count. It's completely reset again. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Well, after doing this, I think I got my kills on reserve like 3 or 4 times. And then I was like, I'll try going to woods. Let's switch it up, see what happens. Well, I go to woods. Same thing happened. So I had to just like call the run there. I get out of raid and I got no XP. I was rewarded for 1 raid. 6.5 hours of just in raid the entire time, probably at least a couple hundred kills, like just like a lot of shit, for hours. And it all got wiped away for whatever reason. And I think it had something to do with starting on BSG servers, but then when I like went to customs, it was still on local. And for whatever reason that bugged it. That's the only
Oh,
thing we can figure happened.
That's 100% what it is
Yeah.
because that was supposed to be fixed. They actually announced that that had been fixed, saying if you started on BSG servers, you would, if you
Stay on
end up
BSG servers.
transitioning, yeah, you would, no matter what you had selected on the next map, you would stay on the original selected server. So that's, 100%. I mean, it has to be. That's the only thing it could be. And other people have had similar issues with it. So, you know what I mean? It's not just you, and that's always ended up being the cause of it. So I think it's just for whatever reason they still haven't fixed it. Like when you select a certain server, it just doesn't stick sometimes. And I don't know if going in and actually before doing it, making sure everyone is selected, it would fix that. You shouldn't have to do that, but that might be the answer to that, maybe.
That's what I went ahead and did. I went ahead and turned all of them to BSG servers, so I'm hoping it doesn't happen again. But yeah, dude, it was so unfortunate spending that much time in raid, doing escort on top of it, getting all the kills, not dying, going to all the maps. All we had left was from reserve to shoreline, and then we were done, and it all got wiped away. Probably
Yeah.
that was probably the most like disheartening thing I've ever had happen to me. Like that was the most like upsetting, like just like heartbreaking, just like, oh dude, that's horrible. Like what are the odds that's actually gonna happen? And then it does.
Right.
Have you
Well,
have
I
you
think
have
the good thing right now especially is when something like that does happen. Now with the Tarkov community, you can just go in there and you can either do it that way or you can report the bug as normal, but you can do it that way, go in and talk about it, and you're probably going to get an answer, within a couple hours. And it just kind of shows how much they've stepped it up when it comes
oh
to
dude.
resolving issues, fixing bugs, taking in just, whatever the community wants and at least considering it and letting you know if they're going to even attempt it. Like
Yeah.
it's a big change considering that, they for the first few years, obviously they were more concerned, I think, with getting the game, on its
Out and
foundation. And
yeah,
it's like, yeah, now
polished
you can
enough to
see
play.
it's like, yeah, they're getting ready for 1.0, and I think they just are adding
Well,
in pretty much anything and everything that, makes sense right now.
they've even stepped it up on the ticket side. I
Yeah.
submitted a ticket and I had already gotten a response that same night. After it had happened, I went to bed like an hour later or whatever. Um, I, I think it was 4 hours. I could check. It was like a few hours after I'd got off. It was like 6 a.m. I think they had responded to it and asked for timestamps of exactly what happened, where it happened. So just seeing that, because normally you open a ticket for anything through the launcher or the website, it usually takes a few days to weeks. Like it can take some time to get responses. So it's nice to see the amount of transparency and the amount of effort going into like just getting things caught up and paying attention to everything happening all around them, not just kind of letting things slide by for a while and then getting to it when they want to.
And that goes to something we fight with people a lot about, which is, BSG actually doing good things. Because, the narrative is that, they don't care, they don't do anything, they just,
This is
let
just a
cheaters
cash
ruin their
grab,
game.
yeah.
And um, what do you think about that nutshell? Have you seen an improvement since you've been playing, or?
I mean, I'm probably the very bad person to
Well,
ask
no,
because
that's
I've
great
played a
then.
lot of I've played a lot of other games, and so like even when I first started playing this game, it was already better than a lot of other games that I've played in terms of transparency from the devs. Um,
Yeah, you do get
and
a
also
lot from
like,
this company.
and it's also like, I'm not trying to like blow smoke up anyone's ass or anything like that, but like, if I'm just looking at it from a standpoint of like, what have I seen? I think it's definitely gotten even better, but I don't think it was absolutely garbage like to begin with.
Right, like you hear
No.
so
Which a lot of
often it's
people,
cooked
yeah,
and yeah. Yeah.
um, but like for example, like I've played games like World of Tanks, and there's like absolutely like zero like notice as to what they're even developing, what sort of things that they're looking to do. Like it's just update is there, done. No one even knew about it. No one even got an input. Like there's absolutely no conversation. It's just that's the update. Deal with it. And like sometimes it works. Sometimes people are like, oh, that was actually decent. And a lot of the times it's like, why have you even bothered doing this?
Right.
And so like at least like with what you see, the BSG will actually be like, here you go, like they'll show it off and then react, I think, according to what people's reactions are to said things, at least some of the time.
I mean,
Right.
they are that way for the majority. Do you watch the live streams they do?
Yeah.
So they had a Tarkov TV not too long ago. It was during, I think it was to release the Halloween event or right after.
Yeah,
And
with the
Nikita was
recoil
showing the
back.
new recoil pattern, and so they instantly
Yeah.
people were bitching. He's like, "Fuck it, we're not doing it." So, I mean, even that, like a little outburst, it's still like, okay, I see you guys dislike it, even though nothing actually changed. We'll still, we'll stick with what you guys like, and that goes a long way. And it blows my mind. And like Adam said, we fight with people about this all the time, but it's like they are one of the faster companies for or developers for turnaround time on problems, bug issues, and things like. And I think a lot of people fail to realize one report doesn't mean that it happens all the time. They need more than just one instance of something going wrong, or that could just be a fluke. It could have just been something didn't go correctly. So it's hard when there's such niche things that happen. They need to kind of compile a list of it happening, find out exactly what the common denominator is, and then fix the issue from there. It's like nobody wants to give them enough time, but yet they turn
Right.
around and fix the issues as quickly as they can. So it's I always find that a little bit funny that they
Yeah,
I'm
are
just glad to hear
so
someone else agree with us on that because
yeah.
most of the time we get pushback anytime we give BSG credit, and it's like, I'm starting to think, like I think you said it earlier, that people just they must not play any other games, because I played so many other games where you don't even get half of the fixes or half of the communication that you are getting from BSG when it comes to, pretty much anything and everything. Like they'll reply or they'll give input on pretty much anything, even if they, shouldn't, even if it's something stupid. Like they pretty much are, they're just, as far as developers go, they're probably the best I've ever encountered. And I know that's not the popular thing to say, but that's really my experience. Like,
I mean, if you separate the millions of dollars from like major studios and just look at them as what they do, what they've made, and how they react and interact with the community, yeah, absolutely, BSG is up there at the top. There's a few other studios that are very good as well, but just for what Tarkov is, for them to even take the
right.
time out of, I assume, their relatively busy days of trying to fix this, get this ready, get 1.0 up and running, and just be like, okay, well, what's the community want? This case, this thing, boss spawns, like, to just devote time into fixing those things. It just goes a long way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just, how is it, like, I just don't understand. Like, how is it they can be like this, but yet they get the complete opposite reputation? I just don't understand it. Like, I really don't get it.
I think there's just enough people out there that want to see Tarkov fail, that want their game to be what Tarkov is, but never could have been. Like
It is
the
divisive. It is
the
divisive. That's
Arena Breakout guys, they really like Arena Breakout. They just flat out hate
right.
Tarkov, even though it's like 1-for-1.
Right.
I think
And I
it's
think
quite
it's popular
polarizing.
opinion. What is it?
Like it's quite a polarizing game, I think. So
Yeah.
like some people absolutely love it, other people absolutely hate it. And
Yeah.
I think the problem is for example, BSG have their own vision and they stick to what they want to do. And like they'll adapt certain things to make it easier for people to play, but as a company, I actually think that when you don't make your game available to everyone, that's when the best games get made.
Yeah.
Like for example, you look at some of the absolute garbage games that are out there, like some of the new releases of where they try and appeal to absolutely everyone, including like an audience that doesn't even exist. It's
Yeah.
like, what are you
Final
doing?
Fantasy
Like
VII
you're trying.
Rebirth.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played it, but
Yeah, it's
there's a
there.
lot of games where I've tried them and I'm like, this is absolutely garbage. Like, there's nothing to the game. There's no depth. It's like they've gone so wide trying to make
Everybody
everyone
happy. Yeah.
happy
Yeah.
that like in reality you've made no one happy. And like you should just stick to what you're doing. Like if you're making a game that's like Tarkov, the whole point of it is to jump into a raid and do the game, not like like as much as I like the hideout stuff that they've done, like I think it's not necessarily like required, like the customization stuff like that. I mean, it's nice to have.
It's a cool
Yeah.
feature, especially if the hideout's
It's
going to
a
be
cool
something we
feature,
deal with all the time. Yeah.
But I
but
get it. It would be fine without it.
yeah, but what a lot of other companies do is that they'll start doing that stuff before they've even done the gameplay. So
Right.
like
Right.
their game sucks from a standpoint of like 95% of your time, like, and then but the way that Tarkov has done it is that they've introduced this now, like recently within like the last year you've seen a lot of the customization stuff open up,
Right.
which is the right way to do it, because I feel like what they've already done is they've already got their game. Like I feel like 1.0 is relatively close. I don't know if there's actually been a release date as to when they're
No release
going to
date
go
yet,
live.
other than like they've said like
They
end of
they said
2025.
2025.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
well, yeah, they just said 2025. That's true.
So, like, given what they're doing at the moment with like the community questions, fixing bugs, that sort of stuff, I actually think that they've already done the entire like game, as in like
Oh, it's
that's why everything's getting fixed so quick at the minute, is because they've basically done everything for what they need to do, and it's just a
Yeah.
case of fine tuning all of the bits of the game that have probably been lacking. So things like like the managing of your inventory or your stash in the game. So like things like that where you can now select the container that you want things to go into, like stuff like that
Yeah.
has started to be added in,
quality
and
of
that's
life
like
stuff.
secondary stuff,
Yeah, absolutely.
because they've already like done most of it. So I think that that's the way to do it, as opposed to a lot of other companies where they put in all of like this gimmicky stuff and their game sucks. Like the
Right.
actual game, it really sucks. And
Well, it
like,
has no soul. It's just like you can tell it's just stuff put together just for the sake of trying to make money. You know, it's like Tarkov has a soul. Like it has like a real like just Tarkov's its own thing. Like
Well, there's
it's more
been
than a game, I think.
yeah. Well,
It's got
it really is.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's got lore all around it. It's got a story behind it. It's got a real like everything's like tied together. Everything makes sense. Nothing's put there just to be there. Like there's a reason. Everything that's in the game has like a reason to be there. Like
Yeah.
in other games, that's what they miss out on. Like because they just look at like DMZ. You have DMZ, which was Call of Duty's attempt to make an extraction shooter, and
Yeah.
it's like it was awful. Like
It
it was
really
fun to
was.
go
It was
around and
bad.
shoot some people, but it's like
Just go
they
play Warzone at
completely
that point.
missed. Yeah, they
Yeah.
completely missed what made an extraction shooter
Tarkov.
like Tarkov fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
they had no economy. They had no like reason to like. You just had like your loadout. You could just put your loadout on before you go in. You didn't have to like worry about losing anything. There was no risk versus reward. Like
Right.
it was basically a team deathmatch just with an extraction.
Collect some extra stuff
Um,
and leave the map together. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
but
like earn some money that you don't spend because you've
It's
already got it.
completely
exactly.
arbitrary. Yeah. I say all the time
Well,
Tarkov money is arbitrary, but Call of Duty DMZ money was fucking arbitrary. There was just
and
no point in it.
you've seen towards the end they started releasing bundles that give you like advantages in DMZ. And it's like, oh yeah, wait a minute, that's what that was all for. The
Yeah.
only reason they even did it was so they could sell bundles and give people a reason to buy the bundle so they could have a little advantage. That was their whole reason for even making the game mode. It had
Yeah.
nothing to do with
Just
wanting to
cash.
make a good game. And that's the opposite, of like Tarkov. Tarkov, Nikita said over and over, if it was about money, he would have quit a long time ago because he said it's not, worth sinking money into if you're not, selling skins and, selling all kinds of like DLC all the time. He's pretty much kept the same vision since he started and stuck to it.
Yeah.
And I think people overlook how important that is in a good game. You can't slap stuff together and expect it to be, something that lasts. It might be good for a minute, but it's going to die out.
Yeah, it's like the bit that gets me is when like Tarkov, the amount of things that I think could have been monetized that aren't is
Yeah,
actually pretty
absolutely.
crazy. Like
Dude,
when you
yeah.
think about it,
They could have went the
um,
arena breakout way. They could, like monetize every little aspect of the game.
and it's
They
like
could,
skins. You
yeah,
could
weapon
have
skins,
like
charms. Yeah.
hideout stuff where you customize it. You pay £5 to get a new skin. Maybe that will come. I don't know. I'm not
I think
BSG
Arena will be their
familiar.
test bed for making money with skins and stuff. And I think what will happen is like currently you can go to the BSU or the EFT website and you can buy skins just the same as you can your inventory space. But I don't think I don't imagine, I can't picture it ever getting so bad that it's like, geez, these guys need
Well,
to chill out. You know what I mean? They don't seem like they would ever go that far with it. Not when
no.
they have
And I feel
Arena.
like the only reason that we do have that is because people ask for it,
Yeah.
especially like after the Unheard Edition stuff. Everyone's like, you should just sell skins. And, Nikita's like, well, if you really want skins, we can do that. So it's like that's when they started doing it. Before that, they had never put anything into the game that cost money ever. And, obviously, except the edition when you first bought it, you could get,
Right. But that's a
the
one-time
Edge of
fee.
Darkness. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then that was, basically at that time it was considered, you get a good deal because you get all the DLC, you get there was no reason to not do it, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
especially if you like Tarkov.
I didn't
Um,
even like Tarkov at that time and I still got Edge of Darkness.
well, and the other thing is just the amount of years that you've gotten out of Tarkov. Like most games come out, they have maybe a year or two of updates and then they're done.
Yeah,
Tarkov,
60 to 100 and some dollars every 2 years or every year
yeah.
for the same title
So
just be rinsed and repeated over and over. It's so frustrating.
yeah, so technically, yeah, say you did pay $250 for your edition. Well, you know what? You're probably still saving money because you would have spent way more than that upgrading to the next best game every year, if you was with a different company. And it's just there's so many things like that. It's like they've been the opposite of greedy and
They get
it's
treated like they
surprising.
are the worst company for this stuff though.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Like
surprising the reputation they've got because they've done the opposite.
I think I think the problem was is that they said that they were never gonna release
Yeah,
another
you're right.
edition. like that's why you shouldn't make statements like that, because you never know what you may or may not do, and it only ends up
Right.
coming back and biting you in the ass. Because if
Yeah.
they literally didn't say that they were going to do that, then
Unheard would never have been an
like
issue.
yeah,
The price,
literally that
people would have
wouldn't.
bitched about the price, but
ma-
like it wouldn't have been what it
and,
is.
and maybe like they would have been annoyed about the some of the stuff that they were originally going to release with it, right? Like
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
where like but then
A
like
scab for
the
the device and
company,
stuff.
yeah, but then they brought in the whole like the fact that you can do all like the tasks to complete and get the
Right.
addition bonuses, whereas a lot of other companies wouldn't have even bothered doing that.
No.
Well, and that's the other thing I tell everybody is you can be mad at them for the unheard edition, but look at the response afterwards. Once everybody got upset, not only did they drop the price on it, and not only did they give pretty much all of the Edge of Darkness owners majority of the content, but they also give everybody a way to get most of that stuff in game. And yeah, some of the missions are drawn out and
a
tedious,
little
but
tedious, yeah.
they still give you a way to do it without having to spend money. And you're right, no other company really does that, especially if they've released something that costs money, they're not giving the people, that aren't paying a way to get it at all.
Yeah, no.
Because that's your way to get that's the incentive is like you only can get this if you pay money. That's
You have
that's
to
your
pay.
incentive to actually, yeah. But, they quickly, it took them a couple days of, kind of back and forth, but pretty quickly within a week, they had reversed most of that stuff. And
Drop the
even the
price
in-game
and
the scav thing, the unheard edition little thing, like it sucks. Like I don't even use it. I've never used it. Like there's no reason to use it because if you accidentally kill a scav, you're losing your karma so fast that
yeah, it
it's just not
drained
worth
your
it.
karma. It wrecked your
Yeah,
karma.
yeah.
It's
So it's
not
like
worth it.
Yeah,
I
I've
just
never
think
used that.
their response to the bad situation also just shows that they're even in bad times they've been willing to change their mind to make it right.
Yeah.
For me, it was
Not just
literally just to get PVE. No, that was
yeah,
literally it.
exactly.
Well,
And I'd already got unheard, so like
yeah,
I'd quite happily paid. I had hundreds and hundreds of hours on Tarkov anyway, and
right.
usually, like, if I think a game is good, I will spend money on that game. If I
Yeah,
think a game
exactly.
is absolute garbage, I won't spend money. I don't care how many skins that you've got or how
Yeah,
many
there's no
For
different
point.
sure.
ways that
Yeah.
I can buy bonuses. If I think the game's trash, I'm not going to buy
Yeah, it's just not worth
anything.
it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was gonna
Um,
say is the other side of it with the Unheard Edition, the stash space, some of the clothing stuff because I have bought it. Is I genuinely love Escape from Tarkov. I appreciate BSG. I think it's a great studio. I think it's a great community. And it's like if I can support that in some way, shape, or form, yeah, absolutely. I'll throw you some bones. Like I got no problem giving you some of my cash to keep this up and running and doing this thing that I love so much. Like it's an investment that's paid off tenfold.
Oh yeah.
Hell, I've even bought extra accounts just to have them. Like I've got a buddy playing on one of mine, so I bought another one, and then like I don't even play on it. It literally has 0 time on it. So it's just like here's a
yeah.
donation.
What people are boosting your accounts? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. I'm playing boosted accounts.
Oh, sorry, you're selling accounts?
Yeah, yeah. Hit me up. I get one every 2 weeks.
But yeah, it's just like I just get tired of the negativity. I mean, not to say BSG's never done anything wrong, but it's like when you look at the overall like just landscape of gaming in general, they are pretty close to being some of the best with everything they've did. It just I can't really I can't find anything bad to say about them.
I can find stuff bad to say about them, but like, I don't think that you necessarily need to.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, in comparison, you know what I mean?
like I'm
uh,
not saying you should ever accept mediocrity or like stuff like that, because I think
right.
at the end of the day, like if you make a good product, people will pay, and clearly they have.
Yep.
Otherwise,
Right.
the game wouldn't be alive right now. Look at all of the extraction shooters that people made for a quick buck, and look at how many of them are around at the moment,
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
and how many people are playing them. I don't know how many people play Grey Zone Warfare. I don't know. I have no idea what the average player count is.
I think it
It's
has a
not
decent
much.
player base, but it's not huge. Yeah,
No, it's I think last time I checked they were
200.
averaging yeah, around like 500 a day, which
Yeah.
compared to the 1.5 million that they sold at launch, I mean, they definitely launched early, like way too
Yeah,
early.
way too
They
early. Took way too long getting updates out.
Speaking of Gray Zone, I actually played it today just because they've introduced some new updates as of late, and today they just had a like special with some streamers. Like Clean was on there, and Nice Guy was on there, but they're like focusing more towards PvP now. Finally, like actually making it where you can tell the difference between the factions and stuff. But it's like that was all stuff that should have been done before they
Day
released the
one.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they 100% tried to jump on the backlash of the Unheard Edition because that's when they launched their game. As soon as the Unheard Edition stuff happened, they went ahead and launched their game, and it was
Yeah.
not ready.
Yeah.
And that's why,
That's,
like you said, there's not many people playing it right now.
that's why you just gotta stick to your guns. I feel like too many of these developers, right? They try, or it's not developers, right? A lot of the time, like a lot of the
It's
decision making stuff that comes out of
Publishers.
development
yeah, it's the
studios is
publishing studios.
publishers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
everyone complains about the developers, but if you jumped on a call with said developers, like I've talked to developers before, and most of them care just as much as you do about the game. I mean, at
yeah,
the end of the day, their job that they have more of an investment in the game than you do a lot of
yeah,
the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Not to
it's not
say that they
just a passion for
maybe,
them.
yeah, it's not just to say like, oh, they should get free pass for doing terrible decisions. Like, yeah, some of them make terrible decisions, absolutely. Um, but so does like people in normal jobs as well.
right.
Right.
But
Yeah.
equally, like, there's a lot of hate towards developers when in reality, a lot of it is the commercial side
Yeah.
of games, especially in these bigger studios. I mean, look at Ubisoft; like they have been, they're
Yeah,
honestly taking
Yeah.
just L's left, right, and center right now, and that's what happens when you make like it's good. It's good. I'm glad that they're like absolutely failing their ass off because
Yeah, they
it
needed it.
shows people that like it also shows everyone else that like you can be like even the big boys can lose their
Treat your
trousers sometimes.
yeah, treat your player base and your communities like trash. Don't listen to anything they want. Throw out garbage they don't want you to make, and that's all it really takes. Couple
yeah.
bad
Yeah,
Just
games
try
of
and
not listening to your communities, and it's over.
yeah, you
well,
try and make your game for people that aren't the people who actually play your game. Like, haha, yeah, good. That's a good
Yeah,
decision.
way to go.
It's like,
well,
why
it's
is no
like
one playing our game? It's like,
for
'cause you,
years and years, like they had started doing that. You know, they would release a Far Cry, and then the very next year, it's like, oh, wait a minute, new Far Cry's out. Oh, I bet you I just got to find towers and then unlock areas because that's what I
Yeah,
did in the
that's
last one.
all you're
And it's
doing.
like, oh, hey, a new Assassin's Creed's out. Oh, wait a minute, I bet you I just got to climb up towers and unlock areas. It's like all their games started becoming the same, and it's like after a while, it was like, man, you can't milk a franchise to death and expect it to last. Like people are
They
going to get
had
tired of it
really good
regardless.
ideas with the titles, right? Like each one of those coming out sounded really good, but like unfortunately being Ubisoft and just seeing how
Well,
trends and things, it's like, oh, this is gonna suck.
that's
Valhalla
the thing that
was decent, but
they
it
have
still lacked.
the money, they have the development, like they have everything as far as making a good game. It's just that money side of it, like he was just saying. It's like it pushes them to stick to what made them money last time, and it's like
Yeah,
that
but
doesn't
what worked
help. Like
15 years
gamers don't
ago?
want the same thing over and
Yeah.
over and over and over and over, and it's like eventually you're trying to find new ways to make the game different while keeping it the same, and eventually you're making a game that just is an abomination. Like it has nothing to do with what it should have been. It's just a bunch of stuff put together that makes no sense. And
Valid.
it's just like you could see that happening though. It's like every time they released a game, it was just like, here we go again, same old same.
Yeah.
it's like the reason why the original games is because they were game breaking. Like they were
Yeah,
new
they were great.
things.
Oh,
Like
they were
Yep.
ahead of their
you know what I
time by so
mean? You
much.
like it's not hard to create something that is, I guess, well, maybe that's underplaying it. It is probably hard to make a very good game, but what I'm saying is like the conceptual idea of it is like say you've got a game that's done really successful. Well, how do you make another successful game on that same franchise? Well, you've got to do something new in it, something that you can't do.
You
Like
have
for
to
example,
innovate.
the
Yeah.
difference between some of the older Assassin's Creed and something like Black Flag, for example, was they introduced the sea. Like
Right.
it's a pretty natural development, and they introduced a whole new aspect to the game. and it worked.
It works really
Surprise,
well.
surprise. A brand
Yeah,
new thing that you can do. It's something new. You've got the sea. You had good graphics for the time.
You still
Like,
got all your Assassin's Creed mechanics. It's the Assassin's Creed game, so you
exactly.
don't lose that feel of it, you know? Yeah.
But and then what was in the next few? Oh, the exact same. You could go on a ship. You could
yeah.
do this.
Yeah,
Well,
rinse and repeat. Just more
and I'm not
dialed back
talking.
each time.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm not talking about like you have to do something completely outrageous or anything like that, but like just adding in things to the core gameplay, making the game feel better, adding in more complex like quests or stuff,
For
um,
sure.
and
They could
stuff
have
like
went a
that.
lot of
Like,
different routes, especially with Assassin's Creed.
yeah,
You could
exactly.
have like dungeons and just like
Well,
little ton of like there's so much you're playing in history, so you could always lean into like kind of like the fantasy side of it a little bit, I guess, but like
yeah,
dungeons and things and like different trekking through stuff to find this
a lot of the
grail.
story is already written.
That's true too. That
Yeah,
is very true.
Yeah, it's like but what's crazy is they did so good at the start. Like when they first made Assassin's Creed, it was good, but one of my favorite games of all time is Assassin's Creed 2. Probably my favorite Assassin's Creed game was Assassin's Creed 2. But even up through like even Black Flag, even up through
That
4,
was my favorite.
it's like they were still doing things that was like, enough to make the franchise still feel good. But
Yeah.
it's like after that, it's like and some of 'em Origins was okay. Like there was good parts to all those games, but it's like eventually, even if you have good parts, it's like if you're doing the same mechanics and the same gameplay loop over and over and over, you have to do something different. You have to
Yeah.
keep reinventing it somewhat, you know?
yeah, and building off of your core idea. What is the game about? The game is Assassin's Creed. It is not Assassin's Creed customization center, buy things in game, be able to create your own house, do this, do that. It's an
Yeah,
Assassin's
yeah.
Creed game. You know what I mean? Like you're playing it because you're like in that world of I want to be an assassin. I want to go and assassinate people. And what is
Yeah.
it now? I don't know. What is
I
Assassin's
don't
Creed
even
now?
know, to be honest with you. Valhalla is the
It's
last one I saw, and it was you were a Viking. And I mean,
Yeah.
like, it was cool. It was cool, but it should have been like Viking Creed or something. I don't know. They should have switched it up a little bit.
like
Um, it was still good. Like, it was
yeah,
okay. It had really good open world travel, I guess, and like some good systems involved, but it was too much of the same, all the other ones. But that's
Right.
what kind of surprises me about like I get it with sports games because the sport doesn't change, so of course it is the same. You just have this added, whatever. But like with Call of Duty and stuff, how it hasn't fallen off. But I guess when there's only so many good shooters that work mechanically and in the system and everything else, like not only do the mechanics feel good and the play feels great, but the game works. It's not buggy and broken and just ruined at launch. Um,
Well, and to a point, it's kind of fallen off as of late. Like Warzone's at
it
its
has a
lowest
good
play
bit,
rate
yeah.
ever. Yeah, Black Ops 6 has been pretty awful.
But
But,
that's like the
you
only
know,
franchise that's had a really good life, and I think about that all the time. But they were always innovating new game modes, even if it was like bad stuff. They were still adding new features, new mechanics, new
sometimes
play styles.
because
Yeah, granted, there were streaks of
I
when
just
you
say,
release every 6 months, right? Like two studios busting
yeah,
out Call of Duty titles.
yeah.
a lot of people will argue that that was their problem was they was releasing the same game every year. But I mean, there always was a different flavor because you had every
Different
release was
eras.
a different
Yeah.
developer. You had Treyarch, and then you had Infinity Ward, and then you had uh, I can't even remember the other ones, but yeah, it's like they were so big. I think it was almost like they could afford to mess up a lot. You know what I mean? Like because there's not very many shooters. Like Call of Duty is the most popular game in the world, so you're always going
For
to
sure.
have players. So you can afford to mess up pretty bad and still maintain a high player base. Um, I think now though they're having a pretty bad little crisis. Like not really sure where the Warzone's going. There's rumor that now if they're releasing the first map, Verdansk, they're getting ready to release it, and leaked things from some of the board meetings and stuff have said that if Verdansk doesn't bring back the player base to at least what it was like at the beginning of Warzone, then they're not going to do a new Warzone in 2026. So it's like they're having some issues, but their issues compared to other studios are kind of different, you know. You have
Right.
unlimited money and
Yeah.
developers. It's a little easier to get by. You
Yeah,
can just
it's
start doing something new.
for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
so I mean, coming back to like BSG, like they haven't done what a lot of people have done in terms of like trying to make the game for everyone. And in fact, they've actively said a couple of times that they're not trying to make it for everyone. The game isn't for everyone,
It's not.
and so they've really stuck into what their core game audience is,
And
compared
I'm
to doing what a lot of companies would have done if
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it was a
absolutely.
bigger studio. Like I can guarantee if Ubisoft, for example, took over and bought like BSG, like the game would be completely different, and you probably
Oh,
wouldn't
it'd be
want
a
to play it.
mess. Yeah, it would be horrendous. Well, and that's the thing. We've talked about it a few times, and it's funny because you like keep touching on things that we've mentioned before. So it's nice knowing that we're not the only ones that think this way. Personally, I think that Tarkov being hard and not holding your hand and the fact that it is not made for everyone is what makes Tarkov not just the only thing, but one of those things that helps make Tarkov such a good game. BSG sticking to their guns and not folding on that is also really huge. But I don't think any other studio could do what BSG has done given any amount of time. They have created not just the lore and the world and everything around it and involved in it, but just playing inside of that world on an engine that isn't known for graphics. Yet I am constantly taking screenshots of just like different sunsets, sunrises, different scenarios and scenes, and like sometimes they've created a world that feels real enough, but yet has that grittiness to it to add that layer of like stress and worry and while you're in raid. It's the environment, the attention to detail of the environment, the way it interacts and reacts with the players. They've just built something literally from the ground up, from scratch,
Yeah. Yeah.
that is leaps and bounds beyond anything that any other game studio. I just don't think that anybody else could do what BSG has done.
It's the passion, I think. I think it's the passion and drive that Nikita has for the vision, because this is all basically from his head,
Right.
pretty much everything.
Yeah.
But even down to the guns, like if they weren't such gun nuts, I don't think the guns would be as good as they are. I don't think,
No, not even
they
close.
they make sure, yeah, everything is exactly right. Like when it comes to the performance of each gun, it comes to the design, and like you're not getting a gun that kind of looks similar to what it does in real life, and shoots kind of similar. Like it's as close to real life as you can get, and they make
Yeah.
sure it's like that.
Yeah.
And that's just a little thing that just adds to the overall, like,
More and more. Yeah.
yeah.
And I feel
And I know,
like
like I
you
said,
can take. Sorry, go
go
on.
ahead. No, go ahead.
And just to add to your point, like I feel like you can use any gun on Tarkov as well, compared to a lot of other games where, say, take for example Call of Duty or what have you, where like uh, if you're playing the game, you're kind of forced into like if you play SMGs, you use this one gun because of the
Right.
latest update.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With
there's
the
a
next
meta.
one, yeah, it's like it's just as simple as like the person's gonna die, like
Yep.
quicker, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Whereas
It does.
on Tarkov, you can play to whatever weapon you're using strengths in game to a
Well,
degree. Like obviously, there's some
there
better,
is a
like you can use
meta.
better ergo
Yeah.
and stuff like that,
Right.
There
but it
is, but
doesn't
every gun,
significantly impact you to the point of like, how many fair fights have you got into on Tarkov? Like, it's
right.
not that many. Where like, you know what I mean? Like, you're probably someone is going to be surprised, and you're not
Yeah, it's
just
usually
like
one
face
sided in one way
tanking.
or another. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's mainly down to your aim as to who actually comes out
Right.
on top, usually.
But
Aim,
Like
every gun
usually.
is
patience.
deadly. Like every gun can kill someone. Like I think
Yeah.
that's the difference.
Yeah.
Is since they try to make it somewhat realistic, it's like even if you're using a PM pistol, if you headshot someone and they don't have anything covering their eyes, like they're gonna die. And that's different than most games. Like most games, you have like Warzone that we was talking about earlier. Right now it has 160 some guns. People only use like 5.
Right.
Like the rest of them are just like not even touched, and it's just like I think that is another thing. It just separates Tarkov, because even if you go in as a scav and you have a pretty crappy gun, if you have decent ammo, or say you find a decent box of ammo, your crappy gun now can one tap a Chad, and it's like
Well,
that just
even
gives you that. You just always have that possibility of being able to take someone down. You never
yeah,
completely feel outgunned, you know?
no,
And it's fun.
yeah,
It's
Yeah,
like the amount of
absolutely.
times I've just ran with like a Kedda for the sake of it, like on
Yeah,
even on like PVE for example, because it gets to the point where like I don't need like I see a lot of comments being like, "Why are you running with like trash?" And I'm like, because if I run with Chad gear, I don't die. Like
right.
you just
You got to
like I
impose
don't
some sort of roadblock or some sort of difficulty
yeah,
spike
or like
sometimes.
because at the minute there's no difficulty system, which
Right.
I'd like to have in the game. Um, whether
I
that
would
will ever actually come,
I
only
would
to make it
imagine in
more difficult.
PvE. Well, you do
Um,
know about like once 1.0 is here, Nikita's gonna let PvE get introduced to the modding community.
yeah, I don't know whether that'll actually come to pass or not. I hope it does, because yeah, difficulty systems would be lovely to have,
Yeah.
like ramping it up to like hyper realistic.
We talked
Um,
about it a while back. We don't think it's going to be something there where they're just like, here's the entire game code, here's everything that you need, go crazy
yeah,
in it. But I could definitely see them just like letting modders come in and just kind of mod over top of things and mess with some of the stuff.
I think at
even if you had sliders.
the end of the life cycle, I think they'll kind of like Daisy and other games did. They kind of just, which Daisy kind of reversed it, ended, and then now it's back going. But most games once they end, you know what I mean. They'll kind of let modders kind of do some stuff. I'm hoping that's what they'll do, but um, I think with the difficulty system, I'm pretty sure on the Tarkov community, someone asked that, and I thought they said planned. I'm pretty sure they said planned for PVE.
Yeah,
I
so
can tell you.
that would be lovely.
Yeah,
Because I see a lot of people saying like I don't necessarily think it needs to be easier because I also think that's like somewhat part of the appeal or somewhat part of the
yeah,
learning process. Because like for me at the minute, like the point of me playing, I don't really have much of a point other than to do the tasks. For example,
right.
like I've got way more money than I ever need. Don't really die. I don't lose any kit. I've got most stuff unlocked anyway, so I can just buy it back if I wanted to. Um, but like so the game for me is playing it because I enjoy playing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
So like if I can make the game, have a difficulty slider where I can go, you know what, this raid, I want to make it absolutely like
Yeah, I
cracked
want these
where
raiders just running me down every second. I want
and
all the
like
scavs on horde mode. I want it cranked up in
yeah.
difficulty. Like, yeah.
And like I fully agree, like not everyone will want that, which is
No, but a
perfectly
slider would be
fine.
sweet.
So
It would
like
be
being
really
like,
awesome to
you
have
know
on
what, I
PvE.
want boss spawns at maybe if you like change like certain things that it wouldn't count for tasks, um, just to avoid like people like for example, but taking out bosses. Like if you had like a boss slider, which was like you could put it at 100%, it wouldn't count for like your tasks or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how it would work. Just because obviously you want the task to last longer, otherwise the game is going to be mega quick if you're just running in with 100% bosses every single
Right.
raid. Um, so yeah, having things like that, I think would be good.
For sure.
Which they kind of already have it, which is in like the practice mode where you can go in and turn
Yeah,
like AI as online or like hardest or extreme. Like it would be cool. Um, like you said though, I think the difficulty is part of the appeal. A lot of people start Tarkov and they kind of get discouraged because they're like, "Man, I suck," or like it's impossible to play this game. But then that's kind of part of the challenge that makes you stick with it. Because you're like, you see everybody else playing it, you're like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. Because we've had so many people that are newer to PVE, they'll come in our chat and stuff, and and they have difficulty with some of the things, and we try to explain to them that that's normal. Like I
Yeah,
wasn't
welcome to
perfect at
Tarkov.
Tarkov when I first started. Yeah,
Yep.
like that's kind of the cycle is you've been kind of had your you've had your hand held with every other game for the most part. So when you jump into Tarkov, it's pretty new. Um, so it's like don't feel bad for not being able to just breeze through it because that's Tarkov. That's part of the appeal. That's what
It
makes the
takes
game
time. It
so
takes
good. Yeah, Well, it slows the
Such a
progression
steep
down.
learning curve. Yeah.
It gives you a reason to get better. Like you want to get better. Like you have to get better, or else you're just not going to do anything. You know.
Yeah, you kind of got to be a little bit of a masochist to really get into Tarkov because it's going to kick your
Yeah.
ass over and over and you're going to learn from it. And every time you die, you learn something new. Every time you heal, every time you get shot, every time you do this, like, everything's just a learning experience in Tarkov. Even now, sitting at what, like 4K hours almost, like I'm still learning stuff just like about play styles. And dude, like, we've been doing breaking down weapon stats and stuff like ergo, weight, recoil, MOA, muzzle velocity, just like everything, right? So there's things we've learned. Like we never once considered weight when we were putting builds together, but now that I like try to build balance for all of those stats and still see that I can have something pretty close to the same like stats that I was building for ergo and recoil before, and now I can take it and it's lightweight, so it's actually holds ADS longer and it's snappier on ADS. Like there's just a lot of really cool little things that you can learn as you're playing the game, and it's like you never really finish learning.
Right. Well,
I'm
that's
sure there's
me.
a point where you hit like it's like, yeah, there's nothing else I could learn from the game, but
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 like
you can always
8,000.
get better, like
yeah,
aim
absolutely,
wise.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. But going on 8,000 hours, it's like when we started doing these little test builds, it's like I didn't realize how much weight. Like I knew weight played a part, but I didn't
right.
realize how much it affected. But just little things like that. It's like I don't have a lot to do, so that gives us something to do. And it's like, plus I like just going in and trying different builds out, not just running the same all the time. Like you said earlier, if you go in with meta gear all the time, it's just like you're going to survive. You know what the outcome's going to be. There's really not too much, that gets your heart rate up. You know what's going to happen. So
Yeah.
at least going in with something new, trying out a different build, trying out a different style, it at least gives you something to try out, and that's kind of where I'm at right now with the game.
It's like YouTube for me has been quite good as well because it's forced me to do things that
Wouldn't
maybe like
typically do.
were uncomfortable
Yeah.
like to begin with. So like I like doing video, like people don't tend to watch them that much, but I like doing videos where like where you pick like a random like weapon and then you've got to go and do said thing.
That's something we could do in the future is a Tarkov roulette video. You use the website Tarkov roulette?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've got
yeah.
it on my Discord server actually. I was gonna
Hell
do
yeah.
some videos where it
We
just
did one
rolled
of
your
it.
gear.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that video actually did pretty good, surprisingly.
It did. It did well, yeah. And it was fun.
It's
It
because
was a
it's an
blast. Yeah.
interesting topic. And I
Well, and
think
you're
people are interested in it as well because like they'll want to do the same thing. Like
right.
and
Well,
so
being
yeah,
forced
I think
to run just completely random stuff that you have no control over, you might get something
Yeah.
great. You might get something bad, but like that's the fun of it. And I think people get a kick out of seeing like how you perform with a gun, but and then just like seeing those weapons in action because it's not typically because what we do is we take off all like the meta stuff, right? We're not rocking M4s. It's only just the not so great firearms, and
yeah.
yeah, it makes for some pretty fun interactions. Like we were hunting cultists with budget guns not too long ago, and just like we're always trying to find something to mix it up a little bit because like once you get so far in the game, there's only a few things that you can do anyways, but playing with random guns and mixing up what you're using is way more fun than you'd expect it to be.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
something we really love doing that doesn't do well is doing zero to heroes. Um, those
Yeah.
are some of our worst videos, like performance wise, but
Favorite to
like
make.
our favorite ones to
Yeah.
make. Which it figures, our favorite thing to do doesn't get views,
Yeah.
but it's just like, yeah, going in ground zero and starting with nothing, and then we try to transition through all the maps with whatever gear
Zero
we
to hero
find.
marathon. Yeah. Yeah.
It's fun though, man. It is. It's
It
fun.
is a
It's
great
really
time.
fun.
No knife, no gun, no nothing. Your
No,
gamma case,
you go
your
in with
kappa,
absolutely
whatever,
nothing.
it's empty. And you got to find a weapon. You got to find something. You got to survive. It's cool.
See,
It's rough, but it's fun.
I
Our
did a
KDs dropped so
similar
much that
thing.
week.
Yeah.
I did a Tarkov gun game. So yeah, in order to, well, I haven't fully finished it, and I've been meaning to restart it. But the idea is you start off with the pistols, right? And you
Yeah.
go through every single weapon in the game. So you start with like the absolute bare minimum worst like pistol, and then you have to get 5 PMC kills or 10 PMC kills, and then you have to take out X amount of scavs,
Yeah.
and then like so it's all like self-dependent, so like self-driven. So like if
Right.
you want to track something, like you know, you just make up the rules. Like
Right.
if I want to you know, make something a little more challenging, like for example, in order to get onto the next set of like weapons, for example, like I'm using pistols, right? I've done all of the pistols, I've got all my kills I need. What do I need to do to get the submachine guns, for example, if that's the next step in
Right.
what to get? Is well, I've got to kill every single boss with a pistol.
With a pistol.
That's a really
That's a
great
good
idea,
idea,
though.
actually.
It
Yeah,
really
that's
is.
awesome. That
It
would be a
really is.
blast.
And then you unlock the SMGs, and then you start from the worst SMG all the way up to, you know, what you would see as more of the meta SMGs. So like you're seeing the progression throughout all of the videos. I think that would be a great one to do. And
Yeah,
then
that
like
sounds awesome.
and then you just get community challenges, because you can do it at the time. Like you can develop that with whoever's watching and say like, I don't know what to do, as like, what do you guys actually think about the final challenge for completing the SMGs? What should I do with
Right.
it? And if it's like you
Clear
have to take out the
cultists.
boss with the worst ammo in the game, like
Yikes.
level
Yeah.
1 pen ammo, and you have to take out, I don't know, Killer or something like that with an SMG with the worst ammo, and then you can unlock the shotguns or like whatever it might be. I think that sort of stuff is really interesting. I haven't actually seen very many people
No,
do
No, that would be cool
that,
though.
so that's what
you're the
I'm
first
gonna.
person I've heard even mention doing like a gun game type thing on Tarkov. Like that's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, I've
So I
done
made like
what
a
I've
full
called
spreadsheet.
gun game, but it was like go and raid, start with a pistol, you go and raid, whatever you kill, you take their firearm, you get a kill with that, you take their firearm, you get a kill with that, you take that firearm. And you just rotate until you're out of time, right? Like, but yeah, this is way more thought out and definitely way more entertaining.
Yeah, but I mean, even that is entertaining as a video if you edit it properly and you
True,
put some
yeah.
overlays, you make your own graphics to like show you completing things like as if it was an actual challenge.
Right,
So
right.
people like follow along, like, oh, I understand what you're doing. Like, okay, you got a kill there, right? The pop-up came up or what have you.
Yeah.
Like, that sort of stuff. It takes a lot of time to do, which is probably the issue that I had, because I mean, I work full time as well, and then
Yeah.
I do like 2 channels, pretty much daily videos. Um, and then I went part time, only 2 days a week. I actually handed in my notice. I know a
Oh,
bit
nice.
off
Nice.
topic, but
No, I mean, that's
No,
what these
that's cool
are.
to know. I mean,
Yeah.
and then and then work were like, oh yeah, we actually need you back full time, and I was like, shit.
that figures.
So yeah, that kind of sucks. So at the minute I'm still working full time and then having to do videos
Yeah, you're grinding pretty
daily.
hard right now, then.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it just gets. It, sometimes you just have to pick what you love, and unfortunately, like well, fortunately, I found what I love. I just don't have the heart to do it yet. Um, even if I could, like financially, which I could, it's just yeah, making the decision. It's a pretty big
Hey,
step.
big steps. Big steps are hard to make
So
sometimes. And that happens.
um,
That's life, right?
yeah, exactly. So I'd love to do videos like that, like as a full series. Um,
You
and
almost need a
like
team for
branch
something
out.
like that, or that or only be doing just those series where you can work on, one every few days or something, because that's a pretty time consuming one.
Yeah, exactly. And like I can do all of them, but to make them like really good videos, you have to spend the time. And
Yeah.
obviously, as one person, like if I'm trying to get out a video a day or something, it's a lot harder to do, which leads to like some subpar videos and stuff like that, which I hate doing. Um, but equally, like, yeah, it depends. Like sometimes if I think like I actually don't have an idea and I'm not just gonna make one up that's just terrible, I just won't do a video.
That's fair.
But also like comments usually tell you rough
What to
topics to
Yeah, I've noticed
kind
that.
of do to
Even
a
people
degree.
complaining about things kind of gives you ideas
Yeah.
sometimes. It's like, "Oh, you know what? There's something there."
Yeah, like they were talking about Partisan. Like I saw loads of people talking about Partisan on the AI video that I did when it got updated.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me see what I think." And like, to be honest, like I don't have a problem with Partisan, to be honest. Like as a boss, like
Yeah.
it's very rare you actually die to him, to be honest.
Yeah, he's
It's
got to
only if
catch you off
really
guard
surprise.
and like
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot
Um,
of people do have problems with him. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's weird. Yeah. Well, it's not weird. It's understandable, but I was
yeah,
surprised that so many people do struggle with Partisan.
yeah, I think with the recent changes as well, it has impacted like the behavior of other things as well. So like you're fighting a lot more. Well, like the scavs could, like the engagements can take a little bit longer. So maybe he's catching up a little bit quicker than he would in some of the other raids. So like he's
Good
catching
possibility.
people.
Yeah.
So maybe that's playing an impact. But I do think yeah, some of the spawn rates are a little bit of an issue. Like I'd just like to know what they are, because at the minute I don't have a clue on offline rates what spawn rates are, because from my understanding, like every time I search for the goons, they're always there. Like on all of the maps that I play. So like customs, for
Man,
example,
we're gonna have to
they're
run some raids.
always there. They're absolutely always there. So like, so making a video about taking out the goons was super easy. I recorded a full video just doing one on Lighthouse, for example, and that was like that was pretty easy.
I run into him the
Um,
most on Shoreline, for sure. Shoreline, up at
on the radio tower.
the radio tower. Yeah. Outside of that, and that's the last place I ran into him, and that was weeks ago. I was trying to get my 15th kill on Big Pipe, and that's the last time I've seen him.
yeah, I remember that.
Um,
Took forever. We seen him that one day. I think you got your 14th kill on Lighthouse when we were running Lighthouse, and then it took like a long time before we ever seen him again.
yeah, that's what
Which
it was.
it's weird because like a few months ago, I was kind of having that thing where it's like every map that I went into, whatever boss could spawn on that map was spawning, especially Partisan and the Goons. Like I could just do raid after raid after raid and run into them, but for whatever reason, as of the last couple months, it's been the complete opposite. And it's like, I can play hours a day and still just nothing.
I spend a lot of time down here playing Tarkov, and
Yeah,
yeah, I don't
you
know
play
what's
more than
going
me.
on. I don't see him at all anymore. I have horrible boss spawn RNG anyways. I've been trying to do Relentless for a while, and I'll have to like just reset map after map after map after map trying to get a boss to spawn sometimes. It's frustrating. Um,
Yeah,
so
like I've
yeah,
had it before, like Sturman in particular, because he dies as well
yeah,
to like
dude.
some of the
Oh my
Yeah.
god, he
PMCs.
needs
Like
to have
that is
some
so
armor or
annoying.
something.
So he's always like, when I was trying to do the Sturman task, is it Woods Keeper or something? I can't remember what it was. The one where you have to take him out like 15 times or something.
Yeah,
Hunter.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hunter.
yeah,
And like trying to find him, I was like trying to pull out my hair because I hate Woods as well. It's just such a
that's
long
fair.
map.
Yeah,
Like when it's just because you have to run so far.
right.
Like
Yeah, there's no close
that's my
extract.
issue. Yeah, and then
And the
like
BTR is nice, but it doesn't run through near as much to take advantage of it.
No,
yeah, and like sometimes you'll hear it and you run to it and then it's already like gone
it's
or
on its
like
way out.
going and you're
Yeah,
like, oh my god. So
it's the
that's a little
worst.
bit of an annoying thing, but yeah,
Well,
there should
speaking
definitely be something with Sturman.
yeah, speaking on bosses and spawns and things of that nature, what do you think a good answer would be instead of if the bosses were able to be 100% spawn rate? Do you think they should just be like floating around in that area, just kind of like there, or do you think it should be like a boss spawn mechanic, like you have to go around and like flip some switches, or light this fire, fucking pick up this note, and then go over here and drop the note, and then pick up this thing and drop it over here, and that spawns the bosses? Or do you think it should be like a rotating daily boss spawn on each map, like Lighthouse this day, Shoreline the next day, Customs, and then what do you think would work best for the bosses to be at 100% spawn rate to where you can almost always guarantee you're going in and getting your kills?
I think, I don't know whether this is the best, but this is just something I thought of a while back. Was like the more you take out a boss, the higher the chances of him spawning.
Like he
Um,
starts like building like a
like a
load
rage
system
bar.
towards you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
like same with like the karma on like all your traders, where like you get your karma up, you kind of almost get like negative karma with the bosses. So like
Yeah.
say you take out 5 Sturmans in 1 week, well you've reached maximum karma, so now he's always on the map
And he's like
Yeah, that's a
aggressive
good
towards
idea.
for the
you.
week.
Yeah.
for the week, and then
Yeah.
he resets. And then so like he's always aggressive towards you, and he always spawns. So like I feel like maybe something that ramps up, because also that doesn't affect like standard players as well. So like
Right.
Right.
players that are maybe not so well versed in taking out some of the bosses, maybe they're a little bit more scared, and they don't want to like, you know, if they're trying to do a task, like they don't want to be harassed by a boss where they're just constantly getting taken
Right.
out by them
Right.
all of the time.
Kind of like you can get a personal grudge against you. That boss is like
Yeah,
hunting you
Yeah.
down. That would be
yeah,
cool.
like you're
That would be
wanted
cool.
like by the boss. Like that would be kind of cool. So like maybe something like that. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of like being able to spawn them in, but then I feel like that also loses the whole like
The random chance of running into
yeah,
them just out
yeah,
of
because
nowhere,
like
especially with like goons and partisan and the roaming bosses, cultists that you just happen upon. At least most
yeah,
of the time, you just happen upon them.
And I feel like
um
people farm the hell out of that. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
they'll figure
yeah,
out ways to just. I think the
spawn,
fairest,
run to here, sit there waiting for them to spawn or something
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
yeah. But I think the
This is all
fairest
the
thing
locations for bosses. Yeah.
is you just do the timer. Do, each day or each week, one boss on one map is on 100% spawn rate.
Even
That way,
80%.
yeah, just something where it's pretty guaranteed. If you
Pretty
need that
consistent.
boss, he's going to be there. It doesn't affect every other map. It's like if you had a mission for this one boss and you've had it forever and you get tired of going to that map, and it's like at least eventually your map's going to come up where you can get that done. And it's like
Yeah.
it gives you the 100% without it being full time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that would kind of help, at
Well,
least with
and
missions that are locked behind bosses you never see.
for sure, and it helps vice versa as well. Like the players that don't want to see that boss or don't want to have to
Yeah,
deal
you
with
can
him
avoid them.
that for that day,
Yeah,
you just don't go to that map. Granted, I
yeah,
think the
because
other
it's
bosses should still be like 30% like they are,
yeah,
but
I keep the other bosses on the normal spawn rates, you know what I mean? Like, don't change that, but at least give one where it's like there's a pretty for sure thing that you can go in and find them. And like, there's a way to find out who it is. Like maybe in your hideout, there's a way like you can go do something like in your intelligence center, and it'll tell you like what boss it is and where they're at, and like put a little gameplay mechanic
like a little
into it.
dossier in there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, something to make it, but make it where if people want to avoid them, they also can. You know what I mean? And
Completely.
that's why you
Yeah.
got to rotate it, as much as possible to make it where people can still get their normal
Fair
stuff
and
done.
reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah,
like a notice board or something that says like
yeah, yeah, something like that would be cool.
Sturman's on a rampage or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Sturman and his
well,
boys are clearing out the sawmill.
Nikita even
Something.
said that
Yeah.
they were already developing that already. That was already in development, and that was right at the beginning of Wipe.
I
Someone had asked
think
Petzley asked him about it.
a system like that with the boss rage mechanic would be pretty cool because like after you
Yeah,
farm so many times that day, they're like, all right, dude, we're getting tired of your shit. We're gonna like
yeah,
turbo
I like
aggro
that
your
idea.
ass down. Like I really like
Extra
the boss
prepared.
karma mechanic idea. That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
having like
they come in
a
prepared. They've got
nemesis
extra
thing would be
boss
awesome.
or extra guards with them or something. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
Sturman's like posted up somewhere in a bush waiting for you so he can snipe you. Yeah, like make it more difficult in some way, shape, or form. I think that's a really good idea though. That's pretty cool. I hadn't thought about that.
I think it would be a little bit more difficult on PvP because of the
Yeah,
fact that's the issue. Because
yeah,
they have to do it for both like I don't think they're gonna develop just for PvE.
No, I don't think so.
So whatever they do, it's gonna have to be
yeah, something
suited
like
to
that.
both. So
Yes,
like I don't know how they do it in terms of like a rage mechanic if there's loads of people in the raid. Is it based on whoever has the highest rage, or is it based on like is it just set back to like the minimum? I don't know. Like I don't know how it would work with like
yeah,
say there's 10 people in
it'd
your
be
raid.
difficult.
How does what's the one that picks? I think like in terms of like practically doing it, it should be relatively like simple to do, but like theoretically, like how are they gonna like choose if
Right.
it's rage? Like
Yeah, in
if it is
PvE they could
that.
easily, just you
True.
spawn
Yeah,
in,
that's
they
true.
they implement it for you. But on PvP, you could have some guy who hasn't fought the bosses at all, and he happens to get there first, and it's like he's got to deal with a ultra aggressive like killer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that's
that
not
would
gonna be
be
good.
insane.
Yeah, with more guards.
Yeah,
So like,
exactly.
I mean, that would be amazing because, well, like, from my standpoint, like, it would be fun if I
It
was a
would
new
be.
player and I was like, walks in, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna kill Sturman easy, and then there's like an extra 3-4 guards, and I'm like, oh
Yeah,
damn,
that would be
okay,
intense. Yeah, that'd be
Or
terrifying.
imagine being the one who caused it. Like you've killed him 5 times in a row, and you go in and just hide and watch for the person like to
Everybody
walk in front
die.
of him.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, you just laugh because you're the one who like got him ultra aggressive. And
yeah.
Imagine
So
that,
like,
but it's cultists.
yeah,
there's like 20 cultists
Yeah, they're just
all around,
stabbing the
hanging
shit out of
around.
you. It'd be horrendous.
So, I mean, I'm sure that there'd be a way like to do it where that would be possible. But I just don't know what that would be. Like, I haven't thought about it enough as to
is
how
there
they.
any like one thing right now that you would like to see either implemented or fixed, or is there like one certain thing that you've had issue with?
Terminal. I want it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
I'd like a new map. I think
What do you think about Lighthouse Rework?
Oh yeah. You have any ideas as to like how to rework Lighthouse?
Lighthouse. In terms of like reworking it, how would I do it? I have to think about like non PVE as well. So
Right,
like how it would work. Because I could say like it would be cool if you could be friendly with the rogues, and then it gave you access to like an underground or something like that.
right.
Like a bunker, like a bit like reserve or something like that, or like there's an extra like hangar or something. Um, and then that has like an actual lighthouse boss in it, if that makes sense.
I think a lighthouse boss would be pretty cool. Not just the rogues, not just the goons, but like somebody that's meant to actually be there. Like it
What's
could be
funny
a
is
rogue
Lighthouse
boss.
has Zerachi, the
That's true. The
goons.
goons, Rachi, yeah,
They
rogues.
just Zerachi just gets utilized because he's just he's
He's
only
just
going to
sitting on
fight
a
you if you're over
hill,
there. Yeah.
right? Or if you're
Yeah.
sniping at him. But if that's the case, you're
Right.
probably killing him.
Maybe if maybe a crash ship.
Yeah.
Imagine that, like on the coast,
Yeah,
like a ship. Like if you were to build it into like the lore or something, like one of the ships has like been hit
one of the
by
UN
something, and
ships or
then
something got hit with.
yeah, it
Yeah,
crashes onto or like beaches itself on the shore, and
yeah,
like you can go onto it, and there's a boss. Like that's where the boss spawn is.
that would be cool.
So like a little mini expansion to the map.
I would like to see a full like just rework of the areas, kind of recentering the rogues, kind of make them the center of the map, expand out behind them. Just because the flow right now is like pretty much most of the time you're spawning over by, chalet side, somewhat. Every now and then you'll spawn on the rocks, over by rogues, but it's like majority of the people, unless they're wanting to fight the rogues or unless they have something they have to do over there, they're not even going over that way. And it's like I just feel like it's such a, like a 3 lane. It's kind of like a Call of Duty map. It's got 3 lanes and they're all just going straight. And it's like I just wish there was like a little bit of additional stuff like behind where rogues are, and just make that kind of the center instead of the end.
Yeah, I like the difficulty of the rogues. Like getting in there, you got to be a
Yeah.
bit more tactical than just like rolling around corners.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'd really want that to change necessarily.
No, I don't want them to become like irrelevant or anything. Still be, pretty difficult.
But yeah, I mean, even if they expanded out the other area, it'd be cool if there was like a bear
Oops.
area. So like, obviously, if you play USEC, right, you get an advantage for the rogues.
Right.
Like, but if you play bear, it would be cool if they had like an area or something, like a bandit camp or like a bear camp.
Yeah, because they're supposed to put one in on terminal. You're supposed to have the bear faction, the roguelike faction, where USECs are going to have the difficulty of getting in there. So maybe put like a smaller like base, kind of like an outpost,
Yeah.
or something like that would be cool.
Yeah, also like the other side of the map, like the very other side of where the road camp is, like there's not a lot going on there.
No,
Like
no, there's just not.
Well, that was
like
one of the things we had talked about for Lighthouse was the open up behind, like to the right of the armored train area, that industrial zone gates area. Open that up, like it butts up to woods anyways. Open up
Yeah.
that whole mountainside over here to the right of the road camp, and you could have like a whole passable area where bears don't have to deal with rogues, or aggressive players players that have rogues aggressive towards them don't have to deal with them. You could have a handful of different POIs up there, and then this whole open area could be kind of woods-esque with some of the depot things spilling into it. Like you could definitely have this whole chunk of the map utilized. That's not it's just kind of empty now with mines everywhere.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
those
curious to see
mines are
what they
killer.
do because Nikita has said that's they're in process right now of reworking Lighthouse. So I'm just kind of curious of what it's going to look like.
I mean, there's just a lot of underutilized area on the map. You've
Yeah.
got potential underground areas under the mountains by like Chalet 1 and Southern Road Landslide, all that kind of stuff.
You know what I've not really thought of is why not just open up some of the mountain area?
Like above.
Yeah, we talked about that too. Like having
Yeah,
a path through
um,
there or even like a tunnel through them or something.
like imagine because they've got a tunnel right down on the bottom, like right at the bottom. Yeah, side
Yeah,
tunnel.
side tunnel.
Why not
Yeah,
just
yeah.
open that one up so that it leads up to like some like compound in like that's maybe like covered so you can't like snipe down into the rogue base necessarily, and then yeah, you've got like a compound like an observatory or something.
Have it come up to the backside, open up into here. Keep like the mountain face up, so you, like you said, you can't shoot over into other things. But it would, I mean, anything that adds POIs and gives another area to travel through. Because like Adam
Yeah, I
said,
don't
now
think
it's 3 lanes and you can't really. It's so vertical, or I guess horizontal. It's so one dimensional, we should say. There's just not enough to travel through and have like decent lines. It's a weird map. The layout's really weird. The spots that you get in fights are so just different from what you would consider them to be. Like normally, I wouldn't expect to always be fighting in between the chalets or over here between these rocks. But like I get in so many PMC fights just in these weird open areas. It's just like little pass through spots. Granted,
yeah,
there's
because
plenty of
everyone
fighting at
has to
chalets
go
too, but
through.
yeah, it's like there's choke points that are so narrow.
Yeah, that's the problem. Everybody has to go the same way. You know what I mean? Like everyone's pretty much traveling one direction on that map.
I don't
There's
listen
just
to that
not a
band.
lot of One Direction.
Yeah,
Shut up, that's your favorite band.
stop it.
Um, but yeah, it's there's I think anything they can do to expand it will just it'll just make it better because it can be a really good map. It just needs opened up a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely think that would be something I'd like to see on Lighthouse, just like an
Yeah.
additional area.
Well, he
Because
did a poll on Twitter, and I guess that's what everyone voted was, Lighthouse was the one that they wanted reworked.
I mean, it would be like this is me just going fully. What would be cool is like having. Imagine you have like a lift going up the mountain. Like so,
Okay,
you've
yeah.
got one way up, one way down. It'd be like
I mean, yeah.
like the rats like haven.
You just getting your head ripped off as soon as you start to peek it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like I think that would be cool. Like you got like a cable cart,
Right,
if you know
yeah.
what I mean, going up
Yeah.
the mountain.
That would
And
be
you're like
fun.
laying down in the cable cart, like please, no one, no one
No
get
one
me.
be here, yeah.
And then like maybe you have an extract, so you move mountain pass extract like to the
Yeah.
top of
Leave
the
Go
a
all the way
trip
mountain.
up
line in the
here.
cable car when you get out for the next person.
Yeah,
That's greasy.
Yeah,
but like
What
I feel like that sort of stuff like would be kind of cool.
it would be
Like,
some
for
like
sure.
interactive type
Yeah.
ways to travel.
but I also don't think that they need to go like fully because one thing I've found that like I've not used is like some of the interactive extracts that they've had in the game. Like like some of the ones with the codes,
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only
Uh,
taken 2, I think.
I've
which
used them on purpose just to do it, you know what I mean? But like never would I just, go for those if I needed to get out.
I
Like,
think
I got my
in
extracts. I know where I'm gonna go.
yeah, I think they would prove way more useful in PvP.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you kill a boss and you get one of those codes on the bosses. It's like if that
Easy out.
extract that you got is much closer than your normal one, yeah, it's a godsend. You know what I mean? Or you got a
maybe
task item. It's like
maybe they give you a reward for actually doing that extract. Like
Yeah.
maybe it leads to a room before you extract.
Kind of
What do
like
you?
even like the fence thing, like whenever you do like the PMC scab extract, fence will send you a reward, like just
Yeah,
something
yeah,
for
something,
doing it.
a little acknowledgement for it. Yeah, that'd be cool. Speaking of rewards and such, what do you guys think about the current XP system? Do you think it's reasonable, or do you think like PMC should be like when you come out of raid? Do you feel like you've gained a fair amount of XP, or do you think like at the level we're at, should like there be a modifier that goes up? Do you think it should be more XP rewarded based off PMC kill, like the level the PMC was? Like I feel like the searching and the loot experience is pretty fair. It seems reasonable enough, but a lot of the times, like I'll go in, I'll get a ass ton of kills on labs. I've killed like 15 raiders and a handful of PMCs, and it's like, okay, that was a crazy raid, and I'll get like 30,000 XP. But then I'll go kill 60 PMCs and scavs and whatever on interchange, and it's like 25, 30,000 XP, and it just feels kind of underwhelming a lot of times. Like you put in a lot of work to not get a bunch of XP. Especially the higher level stuff when you need millions and you're talking about like 10,000 XP for a decent raid.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's like I feel like that's all going to get reworked once the game releases, so I don't really want to speak too much on it right now.
I would say so,
Because
probably.
yeah, I would imagine it's going to get reworked because they're going to try to balance the game for longevity, considering the wipes are going to go away.
Right.
Um, so it's like I would assume that that's all going to like leveling and just XP in general will probably get a pretty big overhaul. As of right now, I haven't found myself like too upset with it. Like I'm fine where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like I don't think I really need anything extra.
Yeah, I feel like once you reach like level 60-ish, like there's like I've not really got an incentive to do any tasks for XP really.
Yeah.
Like unless they give me maybe if they like made the XP system whereby like your XP once you reach level 60 increases your skills faster. Like it gets converted, like a chunk of it gets converted into like skill XP or something.
That wouldn't be bad
Um,
either.
Yeah.
because sometimes like some of the skills, like I have no idea how people level them up to level like maxing them out.
I've
I
got
like
max attention, max hydration, or metabolism, and max strength currently.
yeah. So I've got strength, metabolism, hideout management, and then but for example, vitality.
Yeah.
Like that's like level 15 for me. Like
Yeah.
there's just no way I'm getting like there's no way
Well,
that's getting to 50.
Yeah, that
Like
one's a hard
especially
one to
in
pump.
PvP. Like in PvP, like especially like stats that require you to get hurt and shot. It's like
And
I try my
survive,
best to
yeah.
not. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like so I never build those stats.
Well, and how often is it that you get shot, you survive those times too? Like,
yeah.
granted, a chunk of the time, I'd say it's a pretty even split actually, of
Yeah.
getting shot and making
But
it
it's like
out. But there's so many opportunities in PVE for me to like get hit and back off, and get hit again and back off, and like have a light bleed and pop a propitol, and
well,
just things that are
a
going to
lot of
help pump that
people
stuff up.
would be like in PvP, they like run into like the razor wire, give yourself bleeds, then go back and heal it. Like doing that just to farm, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah, that's
you kind of
true.
have
Yeah,
to if you want to, if you want to get max.
But like at the same time, like I don't think you should have to do that to max a skill in a game. Like where
No.
you're like, do you know what I mean? You're literally walking into barbed wire. That is your gameplay experience. Like
Yeah, exactly.
you're walking into barbed wire to level up a
right.
skill.
Yeah,
Like
that's
for hours and hours and hours just trying to do that. Like if you
Yeah,
actually
that's
want to get it done. Like
it's like reloading a Mosin over and over and over just to get your snipers, built up. And
yeah, it's
there's so many things
annoying
that
and
people have
frustrating.
farmed, yeah, over the years. But that's also something BSG has addressed. They will eventually, get those to where they're kind of more in line with each one because some of them are easy, other ones are hard. Um, I've seen Nikita get asked about it a few times, and every time he said, they plan to kind of dial them in. So we'll see.
because there's still loads of like skills in there that they haven't done yet, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's a few
Oh
that
yeah, yeah,
you
several.
you can see them on there, and they're just not manageable
Yeah.
yet.
Well, we're
Like
supposedly
some of
getting
them
like
look
the
kind of
lock
cool.
picking system and a breach system and like a few different in-game mechanic systems too. Like so there's a lot that we're still missing.
Auctions. What? Any idea what that is for? Maybe the
Player
what?
trading, like you could post an
Yeah,
item and bid on it. Maybe, I don't know.
But why do you need a
Maybe that's
skill
just
in that?
what they
Like,
were
what's
gonna
it gonna
call
give
the
you?
hideout, and they just haven't changed it because that's some of the stuff too. Like there's just placeholder things in there.
and I think he said the
Silent
lockpicking thing
watch.
too was no longer planned, but
Oh,
I'm
I
not for
thought
sure if
they.
that's what he said.
I'll check
I thought he had
again.
mentioned that. Yeah, it might be maybe. I know there was a few things that he had been asking about, and he said that they
Yeah.
were no longer like doing it.
How do you guys feel about adding cases back to marked rooms?
Oh, 100%.
Hmm.
Like all the
Especially
cases
right
you
Yeah.
used
now,
to be able to
because
get,
I mean,
or sick cases, docs cases, which docs cases are still there, ammo cases, maybe med cases. Nothing too large, but
yeah, I don't think you should get like thick cases
thick
and
cases
stuff
and
because
stuff. Yeah, I
obviously
agree.
that, especially in PvP, encourages cheating. People are just gonna
Beyond, yeah,
run to that just to grab it and sell it. In real
yeah,
life. And that was a lot of the reason they were taken out in the beginning was because
right.
of it was such a hot item. But yeah, like at least something rewarding because right now it just feels like they are just there's nothing there. Like every now and then you might get a
A
key
key
card,
card
but
or two. Yeah.
it's yeah, very very unrewarding at the moment.
And like on PVE, for example, there's literally no reason to open up marked rooms
No,
either. I feel
yeah, I
like
have tested. I've burned through hundreds of millions of rubles at this point, just testing all the marked room keys. Not all of them, but the quote unquote good marked room keys, as well as a bunch of the labs cards too. Just to like, I didn't want to use one of the keys one time and be like, "Yep, that marked room's bad." I wanted to get like a good test bet on it. Uh, and unfortunately, yeah, there's just the value isn't there like they used to be. Either the marked room key prices need to come down, or we either need like increased loot pools. But yeah, I think like adding some cases back in wouldn't be a bad thing.
because
Yeah, just increase the loot. Like that would fix everything because it's like people already are rich. It's not
Right.
like if you add a few more good things, it's going to destroy the economy. Um,
Yeah, like I've got
I
30 some
watched.
million rubles. Like catch up, guys.
I went in. I went in the shared bedroom marked room over on Lighthouse, and I think I've hit it 3 times now. And the last time I went in there, I got a pro kill. That
That's
was
really good.
literally the only thing that was in there was a pro kill.
That's a
I
backpack
crawled
burner.
around on that floor. I crawled around thinking like I gotta be missing something. I was looking under everything, looking under the beds, looking like thinking that that couldn't be, but no, that was it. Was
That
one
was
pro
it.
kill.
That's unfortunate.
oh, didn't. It's when you upload it and someone's like, "No, you missed the keycard. It's on the table," and you're like,
Yeah.
"Shit,
Shit.
damn!" Yeah, I've
Yeah.
had that a few times.
Yeah.
Where it's like, "Bro, you missed the you missed the graphics card or something." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, oh
Yeah,
well."
that happens far too often.
But yeah, no. For example, on PVE as well, one of the issues is the Alt F4 bug. That's what's
Yeah.
keeping the
Yeah,
price of
that's
things like Dorms 314 up.
yeah.
Because
Yeah, I watched your
obviously,
video
yeah,
about it. Yeah, and that's like pretty much making it, like no risk at all.
Yeah.
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 So like, do I think like you should get rewarded for opening them if you successfully extract? Because now it's like the only way you make money is if you get a key card, because that's like guaranteed money in
Right.
quotation marks, because you can
Right.
stick it in your back and you can leave. If you
Yeah.
get a weapon that's worth 200k and you're a casual player that maybe does die in the raids, like if you die, you've lost not only everything that you got out of that marked room, but you've also like you've spent the key value, which is like
Right.
2.2 million.
Yeah,
So like,
exactly.
or 2.3, like they were up at like 35
I
million
was
at
gonna
one
say,
point.
depending on which
Like,
key, some of the prices got kind of crazy.
Yeah.
yeah, that was
Well,
when the keycard glitch, like not keycard glitch, but when
the
keycards were
all def,
like
yeah.
spawning. No,
Oh,
that's when they were like
oh,
there
yeah,
was
yeah,
literally like 4 or 5 every
yeah,
not every opening, but every key that you open was like 4, 5, 6 key cards. Pretty
yeah.
sure I
Now
made
it
like
seems like you're
190 million in one night or something, just
nice.
running Dorms 314 and
Yeah.
not doing the Alt F4, by the way. That was just opening the keys.
Right.
That was it
Right.
for a video. That was crazy, absolute
Yeah.
I
crazy.
feel
But
like
now it's gone the other way. Now you could lose 100 million
yeah.
Yeah.
in a night.
You absolutely can.
I feel like at the beginning of Wipe, this time, and I feel like it was pretty good. It was in a pretty good spot. At least my rooms were like, especially Check 13 and Dorm's
Dude,
marked room.
yeah.
It's like we had so many good rooms. It felt like every time we opened it,
Multiple
we
key
at
cards
least
on multiple
we at
turns.
least made
Yeah.
something. Yeah, the several times we had like what green key card and red key card and Check
Green and
13.
red, black and violet, green and black.
Yeah, it
Several
was
times we
just
would get good key card spawns.
yeah, and it seemed like it stayed that way for a good while, but as of late, man, it's total opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean they could just increase the loot pools. They don't even necessarily need to add the cases back. But it is kind of a bummer to find, because like I'd rather run the keys than sell them. But lately,
Yeah,
anytime I find a marked room key, I've been like, well, this is just free money essentially. Like I should just sell it. Like I've ran enough of them. Even lately, I've been getting through the last few that I had, like Check 13 and the Abandoned Factory marked room key, and just like there's just never
well,
anything in there. And when there is, it's like
and
yellow key card or a single key
you
card.
know they'll do their normal thing where closer to the end of the wipe, they'll start ramping up the
Yeah,
loot. But it's
as
like
players
I
come
feel
back
like
and
yeah, I feel like there's no need for him to nerf it this much. Like especially considering we know there's going to be a wipe. We know we're getting close to 1.0. It's like there's really unless it's some internal testing that they're doing like to, finally, get it exactly where they want it or something. I just feel like I don't see a reason right now to limit it this much.
I
The
think,
PvE economy especially is already so screwed.
yeah, especially with the hideout changes now. Like even the stuff that was valuable,
Yeah,
um,
is no longer worth
is
anything.
no longer valuable. So like
yeah,
now you're literally having to rely on just selling to traders, like
Yeah.
rares. Now is basically the way to make money, or getting like LEDXs and I mean even
right.
graphics cards are worthless basically
300K
now.
or less
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, because you just don't need them. So yeah, what I would do is add like an FU sort of money drop in the marked rooms. Mega rare, but you open it up and there's a money case filled with money. Like as in a money
A
case on the
money case
floor.
plumb full. Yeah, just
Yeah,
30, 40
with
million rubles in
all
there. Yeah.
yeah, because that gives like that means if you do it for long enough, you will make money opening the
Right.
marked rooms, and it also
Yeah.
means that the people doing Alt F4 are not. It's not going to increase the price of the key
Right.
that much because it's over such a long period. Because it is so rare that it's not like they can consistently get that,
Right.
and
Right.
that like they're going to open it once every 10 keys. They're going to get this money case, and therefore they can add that onto the cost of the key. I could probably sell the key for 40 million now instead of 20 million. It's probably not going to make a huge impact in the cost of the key unless off of first release of when that goes live because everyone's going to want to test it.
Right.
Right. Yeah, but that would
But yeah, that would
die down
give
and
an
balance out.
incentive to definitely run the rooms again. Even if you go through two keys, not getting anything back, you still know there's a chance where you'll hit that big one and it's like it'll pay for it all. So yeah, that
Yeah.
would be a really good idea actually.
An armband for like a very specific marked room armband that drops like very, very rarely, like 0.5 or something. Like a very low percentage chance.
Yeah,
They gotta have like
anything
some
extremely rare.
super rare, high
Yeah.
value
Like
thing that spawns in there.
a couple things that are mega rare, but enough that you are actually going to get them. Not like because if you put them at like 0.01%, that's like
Yeah.
1 in 10,000. So you're going
Right.
to have to open like 100 full keys, which is
Yeah, it would
more
be
than
absurd.
anyone's ever going to
Yeah.
do. So like, do you know what I mean? Like, no one's going to do that. But like 1 in
It can't be
100.
high enough to as long as it's not so high that it affects everything majorly, at least pricing wise.
So I think maybe trying that out for like a wipe would
The
be
issue
interesting.
there, I mean, it kind of encourages cheaters again, but it's so hard to balance it to where things feel
Yes.
fun and rewarding, and yet keep cheaters from wanting to RMT. So
At some point, it's just one of those annoying things where, like, yeah,
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 you
we're just
can't
trying to
make
yeah,
your
limit
game
the
around cheaters.
Yeah.
yeah,
You
Yeah.
can't make your game around cheaters. Like, cheaters are gonna cheat. They're gonna break your game. They do it on every game, whether
yeah,
that's
exactly.
Rainbow Six Siege, Call of Duty. Probably lesser
Yeah.
on COD, but I'm sure that there is.
Well, no,
Um,
It causes
COD's insane
horrendous
right now.
because
Yeah,
of
it is
just
filled.
because of the amount of like competitive play they have.
It's so
it's
much worse than Tarkov.
Yeah.
basically any hard game has a ton of cheese.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
It's
basically
Any
already gonna be an
competitive
issue.
game.
Yeah.
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 So like you look at
Especially
Siege, like
right
ranked
now.
mode, it's horrendous.
Yeah. It's
Um,
like every game right now is just like getting hammered. It's kind of crazy.
so yeah, I think the big items that would definitely solve it.
Yeah.
Because like I finally like even from a selfish perspective, it's like something else to do. Like just me spending my like 1 billion rubles, just hoping to
Yeah.
get
Just something to do.
something.
Yeah. Right.
Like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna do it.
I
I'm gonna
got
make a
that one of
video.
one item that never drops and only so many people have. Yeah. Like that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
I seen that in your video the other day. I was watching. I was like, he's got 1 billion rubles.
yeah.
That's all.
Like, do you know what's funny? I've had 1 billion for like 6 months,
Nice.
something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
can believe it. It's
But
pretty easy to do actually in PvE. Like,
I just stopped
especially if
trying to
you
earn
try.
money now. I don't.
Right. That's the same thing I did. I got to like 150 million, and I've kind of stuck there for like the last 3 months or so, just because I use money to buy things, and then I just make whatever I spend right back. So I just hover where I'm at because I'm not like looting stuff to make money anymore. So it's like it doesn't move.
I
It's
make
like
money
if I
as I
find
need it
something
right
new.
now, and as long as I have enough money to buy whatever key I need at the moment, or just build endless amounts of guns and run raids, I'm cool. I was sitting at like 100 mil, and then I started running all the marked room keys and just seeing where values were at and shit. And I got low, and I made like 60 mil that next day, and I was like, cool. And then I got low again. And I was like, man, I don't really care. I don't know why. It just feels kind of arbitrary on PVE, and I think that's part of the problem there too with the market. Is it's so
I think there
easy to
has to be a
manipulate and
money
make
sink.
money. Yeah. There yeah,
I
if
think there has
not,
to be a money pit,
yeah. And that, yeah,
like
you can't be
for
the
the
T7
economy.
goggles. Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
nobody's running
I
that
think
shit.
I think it has to be. You have to make it something where it removes it from the game, so nothing you buy on the flea. So where the money is just wiped from the game, like
Right.
because obviously you're
It's not
printing money every day. Every item you pick up, that's money printed into the
exactly.
game. So like the longer PVE goes on with no wipes, like because obviously on PvP, the money, the economies reset every single time that a
Yeah.
wipe goes on, because no one keeps their items. Whereas on PvE, the longer and longer the game goes on, the more and more of a problem you're gonna have, like where everyone has money,
Yeah,
like
I've wondered like how they're
crazy
gonna deal
amounts of
with that.
money. Because eventually, like I said this when it first got released, that there has to be some sort of money pit, because otherwise you're gonna have people like me, like where everyone is getting to a point where they've got like 1 billion rubles, and what
Yeah,
happens then? Like,
there's
mm,
there's got to be
Nothing's
some
worth
kind of
anything
economy
and everything's
reset
dead. Yeah.
somehow. Because
like
like you said, there's no way this can keep going the way it is, and like it's just going to be so out of control that nothing's going to be worth anything.
Well, if when 1.0 comes out, which I think that I'd imagine they will do, or at least I hope they will do a wipe on PVE. Maybe
I
they
mean, they
won't because
said
they said they
no.
won't. Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah,
But it would be ideal to me if they at least reset traders, flea market, and your money, something, because
yeah,
it would be nice
I'm
to
with
see
you.
it
I'm
come
hoping they
out
do.
where you need to deal with the traders more. Flea market is less important, at least in the early levels. And as you get further into it and get certain rep marks, like sure, you unlock more things you can buy and sell on there, but I think it should be pushed further away. And I think it should be a more self-driven economy and less player-driven. I don't know, but that's just an idea of a way to potentially fix the money situation. But I still think even if they just adjust values and make it to where traders pay more for high-end items, like you're still just going to make a shit ton of money and have the same situation happening. I don't know. I don't know if there is a good answer for the money situation
I think
currently.
they're just going to be forced to come up with some kind of economy reset that happens like every so often. Even if you're not completely resetting accounts like wipes, maybe just the economy somehow gets like I don't know. Hopefully they can come up with something that's like PVE specific.
Like a
the
money sink would.
unfortunate.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, the unfortunate thing is like the people who are saying like, oh no, I don't want my account to be reset, blah blah blah, are also not at the point yet, but they'll get there where like
Right.
they've done everything.
Right.
So like so they see these like streamers, YouTubers that are like, yeah, we've got to that point, like we've got way too much money, blah blah blah, and like the people are like, well, I haven't, blah blah blah, and it's like, yeah, but give it a year because you play 10 times less than these people.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
You give it a year, like you will be there, and so everyone will be there. Like the majority of the player base will be there. At which
Yeah,
point you'll probably be going, yeah, we need to do something about this because, like, what are we? What's the point in money?
What's
What's
the
the point in
yeah.
picking anything up in the raid?
Right.
Which is the whole point of an extraction
Yeah,
shooter.
that's
Do you know
that's
what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that
part
is
of
the
exactly.
whole
Tarkov.
point.
Yeah.
So
But
I
yeah,
think
like eventually everyone, no matter how slow you play, everyone's going to get to that point.
they have to bring in prestiges. I think.
I think
Because
that would
it'll
be
mean
yeah.
me and people that, because I'm probably nowhere near like the top level of what people have, because there were people that I knew like 5
Yeah,
months ago who had like 5 billion rubles, like,
there's some insane people out there.
Oh yeah.
so there's going to be people with like 5 billion rubles, there's going to be people with 50 billion rubles, I can probably guarantee it, who have just spent their time looting. That is it.
Looting,
Yeah.
manipulating the market. That's another thing too I
Yeah.
didn't realize that people did was played Tarkov for the flea market. Like they actually just like seeing the numbers go up
Yeah.
and like just making sales and like doing that whole side of it. So
Yeah.
Well,
there's
and there's some artificial stuff to the economy too, with all the cheaters that will just like dupe items and then just start selling them real cheap to bring stuff down. Because we've seen
true.
it in action in real
Yeah.
time. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you'll
where you
go looking for a key card and you'll see all of a sudden, like
10 out
every
of
key
10
card
use
is
Violet card for
getting
500K.
listed for 300% less than the actual market. And that happens all the time. Like there's just so many issues with the economy. I don't know if there's a good answer.
I mean,
it would
prestige
be
would
interesting.
solve a lot of it, but how many players are willing to prestige, especially those guys that like to make the money? See, for me, I like the tasking, I like the shooting, I like the looting, and I'm cool with just rinsing and repeating my own. Like, I got no problem staying relatively broke and just like doing stupid shit all the time. But I'm bored to a point. Like, I only have certain things to do, and I kind of miss those early wipe tasks. So if they give me prestige option, I'd probably finish up Lightkeeper and then prestige.
Yeah, that's what I've got to do now. I literally just did getting acquainted
Oh,
for
nice.
the,
Yeah.
because
Oh yeah.
I hadn't really played since they updated it where you could actually do it. Because I
Right.
was
Yeah, it
I
was
was
bugged
stuck
for
because
so long.
I didn't do it at the beginning, which I should have done, but I went for Kappa instantly, and I didn't
Yeah,
do any of the Lightkeeper stuff, and then it got bugged, and then I was like, damn, I'm stuck on Lightkeeper now.
we did the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Right as we were doing it was when the Halloween update came out and it bugged it. Right as we were on our first mission, weren't we? We were doing
We were
the
doing getting acquainted.
yeah, we were doing getting
We were
acquainted. We
at
had to
that
find the
point.
flash
Yeah.
drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and right when that happened, right as soon as we're ready to do it, it bugs out. So instead, we shift our
For
focus to
months.
Kappa.
Yeah.
And now I think I'm on the very last mission for Lightkeeper, I believe. And I think
Yeah,
you finished
same.
it,
No, we're
or do
not
you
on.
still
We
on it?
still have a couple missions. I looked.
Oh, I thought the streets was the last.
No, you go streets somewhere else, back to streets, and I think that's the last one. But
Oh, okay.
the time gate is the worst part of Lightkeeper, and I get it.
Yeah, 10
Progression has
hours.
to be slowed, especially in-game progression when the wipes take so long, up to a year sometimes. Like there's certain things you don't want people to be able to fly through. But 10 hours after each task is a little bit frustrating. Make it 5 hours or something. Make it something so I can at least pick up that second task in the same
Well,
day. Like, fuck.
it would be different if you got Lightkeeper at the same time you were doing other things, so you could just branch off and do other things and then come back. But
Keep doing
usually when
Lightkeeper,
you
yeah.
hit Lightkeeper, you're at the end of your task lines on most traders, so it's like you're only doing Lightkeeper or maybe doing Lightkeeper plus one other thing. So it makes the time like even longer because you're specifically waiting on that task and it just takes forever.
Yeah, I have escort and I have relentless, and I have a couple other tasks I could do, but they're pretty arbitrary. They don't have much value. They don't really take me anywhere. Do good. They're end of task line things. Um, those are the only other tasks that I want to do.
Well,
Outside of
we
that,
got to
it's like
remember
hunt
too,
bosses, hunt cultists. You know,
once 1.0 comes, I mean, there's supposed to be a pretty big change to the way we play Tarkov, like
that's
as
true.
far as like the story, um,
Right? How it all
like
comes to be,
yeah,
like
the
how
the
we get the
traders and like
information and meet everybody. Yeah.
so yeah, so who knows, if we'll be having the same issues, 6 months from now. or
True.
whenever the update finally hits. So I think that's what I'm excited to see what finally happens, because Nikita's kind of hyped it up by saying that not only do we get 1.0, but they're going to introduce like a whole new way to play Tarkov, a whole new game mode, and he said
Yeah.
it's gonna like take the gaming industry over, kind of like the way extraction shooters did. He said the new game mode's kind of going to be that again,
That's
and
cool.
we're getting that with 1.0. So I'm kind of excited to see what that is.
Yeah, me too.
And like, hopefully, it's good. Because
Yeah.
Because
Fingers
the
crossed.
thing is, right, a lot of people will be like, "Oh, that was such a failure," if it is bad or whatever. But I don't necessarily think it's a failure, because at the same time, like, at least they tried doing something. They now know
Right.
people don't like this. Let's
Right.
not do that. It's better than doing nothing and having the same things. So,
Well,
like, you got to
and
experiment. So,
that's what
I'll
Nikita
be
said. He
looking
said, I
forward to
don't
it.
want to give a 1.0 with just the,
A game
update. And
release.
it's like,
Yeah.
you're playing the same game that you've been playing for years. He's said it has to be something new.
So, like, Terminal, is that coming out with 1.0, or is that coming
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
Yeah.
before?
That's with 1.0.
It's coming with 1.0.
Damn.
Yeah.
I've been waiting to get my hands on a new map for ages.
Well, and from what he said, it's going to be like a single player experience.
Yeah, it's like story driven single player experience. It's kind of once you get
Which
to
they've
that point in the task lines, apparently you're not going to be dealing with other players, or at least not in a PvP sense.
well, they've shown off some of the cutscenes and stuff when they did the 1.0 teaser. I think right before wipe happened, they posted on YouTube. You can go back and watch it, and it shows like one of the walls getting caved in by like a crane on terminal, and like that's how people get in, but it's all like cutscene type. So I don't know if that's like you're introduced to terminal like that, but then it's going to also be used as a normal map for like PvP. I would imagine it would be, because it feels like a waste to put all that work into a map and then cut it off to strictly single player. Um, but yeah, I don't know, because he said some weird things about it, so I just don't know.
Maybe it's like a hub as well. Like, you go there and all of the traders are there.
Well, it's supposed to be the extract spot, like it's where you escape Tarkov. It's where you actually finish the game. Like there, you get on a ship or a hovercraft or something, and that's how you actually leave. So I don't know if it's like the end
Okay.
of the story mission, or like, I don't know.
It's interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And then you come back to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you come
Get,
back and you keep
never
get
playing.
turned
leave
around
it.
and see. It's like re-enter Tarkov.
Yeah, Tarkov 2.
Are you sure you want to come back? I'm hoping honestly that they do make Russia 2028 the single player Tarkov-esque experience, like stalker style Tarkov situation.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd
So
be cool.
what? Sorry, what is this?
So there's
Is
three
it-
games. There's Contract Wars, which was the browser-based 6v6 team deathmatch shooter game that they made, and then there's Escape
Yeah.
from Tarkov, and then there's Russia 2028. We don't know much about Russia 2028 other than it's a single player, story driven, stalker style Escape from Tarkov game. It's like an extraction.
Yeah.
I think it's an extraction shooter still. I'm actually I'm not going to say that at all. I don't know it at all.
Yeah, because
What
I
it
don't
is.
know if it is or
It's a
not.
single player driven, story driven game that's Daisy meets Tarkov, or Stalker Daisy style, like open world kind of thing, I guess. But it's been a while since they've really even said anything about it. I don't know if it's something they're still going to do or what, so.
He's been asked recently, and he's kind of just not really given an answer on it. So
Fair.
no one really knows what's happening now. But
That'd be interesting, actually.
yeah.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. Okay, before we go any further, are you good to keep going? Do you want to keep going? We've been at it for almost 2 hours.
I don't mind. I'm happy. If you want to call it, then that's fine. But
I know
Yeah.
you got to be getting close to like what, 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
yeah, it's fine. I'm usually up this time anyway.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk about the key case. Do we even need to cover the key case? Does it matter?
I mean, I think it's cool.
It is pretty cool. It is
Something
pretty
to put
cool,
all
and
your
there is
keys
some
in one
stuff in
place.
there. Yeah. So,
Did you see that?
did you see?
Yeah.
Did you see the comments? The first one was this guy, Chris J. He said, if this is a 2x6 item, then it should have bare minimum 100. Otherwise, 6 key tools is more space efficient. And the Sergey guy responded with, honestly, 2x6 sounds way too big. So this might be even like a 1x1 or like a 1x2 that holds. I couldn't imagine them giving us something that only holds like the same as a sick case. So
Maybe
So
I
we're
he's
would,
talking
joking.
100.
yeah,
Maybe he's joking. Though. He like 100. Like he's just maybe he's memeing. Being
I feel like the only reason to put something like this in game is a place for all your keys because you
yeah,
already
like
have things.
all of your
You can
keys,
already grab 10 sick cases and you know what I mean. Pretty much make a
cover
pretty
anything.
small
Yeah,
area for all your keys. So if you're going to add something completely new, 4 keys and it's a case, it's like I just feel like it
it's
should be
got to
kind of
hold a
like an ammo
lot.
case. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. Because at the minute, like some of my key organization is
Oh
terrible.
yeah.
oh dude,
I
it's
I'm
a
really
right there
want
mess.
them
with you.
to. I really want
I
them
don't
to have
even.
affinities. So like where say you like have your stash and you've got a load of keys that are to do with customs, you press control, like click on them, and then it just goes into the relevant thing.
Yeah.
Like
So like if you have a
rather
docs
than
case labeled customs, it should go
yeah.
like, or whatever you have open.
Like if this key case was like you could assign it, I want my customs keys in here. Like it would like you control click
Oh
and
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah, yeah,
keys will just go straight into it.
yeah.
So
Dude, there's especially early on when you don't have a lot of cases and sick cases or docs cases or key tools or whatever you store your shit in. Um, just figuring out where you put that one dorms key you need or that one resort key you need. It's absurd. It just trying to get through all of it. What I would like to see is a even just like a side menu or I guess just a case big enough to hold all your
Yes.
keys, but like let you actually it for the side menu, what I would want to see is a list of every key, the name of the key, and then next to that is a value, either 0, 1, 2, 4, 26, whatever. And that way you at least know what keys you have. And if you click that key, it like pops up in your backpack or in your pockets or something. But that I know that's a
Yes.
bit extreme, like, but that would be like the most ideal because then it's like I need West Wing 214. Okay, scroll down, West Wing, you click, and then it's there.
I think we should just have that for everything. We should
yeah.
have a thing where we pull a menu up and we type in the item, and not only does it locate it, it tells us how many we have, and it tells us, you know what I mean, like basically you can just hit the button and move it to your stash or move it to your backpack, something, so you don't have to look through everything, because there's so many times you have stuff buried and you have no idea that you have it and you have no way to find it, and it's like there should at least be a way to find stuff like easily.
Yeah. Because the amount of times I've bought an extra marked room key and then found like the
Found the
like
one,
5
yeah.
that I already have, and I'm like, damn. Okay
Yeah,
then.
that is unfortunate.
It's like
Yeah.
right now, like you obviously have the filter, but it just grays them out. I just want them to remove all of the stuff that isn't keys,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and well, like, what about all the
and then
keys
you
that are
click
in
sort.
cases or in rigs tucked in sick cases or in items cases? And it's like, yeah, exactly. What about all those keys that you don't know that are there because it
Because
doesn't sort them properly?
like some of these are just like ones that I've picked up in raid. Maybe I've used them when I got them in the raid, and then I already have them, but I don't know whether they're duplicates or whether I need another one. So I just stick them in here, and then I'm like, well, I'll just sell it all and then buy the key if I need it.
Right.
So like now I'm just buying keys, selling them once I'm done with them, and then buying them again because I'm like, there's no point in me holding on to them
Yeah, you're just gonna
because
fill up
like
case after
it's
case after
just
case. Yeah.
so like in here, this is where all my keys actually are, and
I
like
love
I
that
don't know
you
what.
still have Christmas ornaments.
Yeah.
I know. I just didn't want to get rid of them.
No, I trust me,
Um,
I do it too.
so like yeah, there's like loads of stuff in here that I've probably got duplicates of, but I just don't know that I've got the key or where to find them. So, and I can't be asked to spend 10 minutes looking around to try and find all of the different keys that I need
Yeah.
for that map because they might get moved around and stuff like
Right.
that. So,
Yeah, I
it's
use my
like,
gamma case and then I have docs cases and stuff for each map and just throw keys in there. And then I got like a few key tools and a couple other things sitting around.
and it's like the stash, especially on PVE, is just there's so much stuff that you just have lying around that
Yeah.
like you
I
can get
sell
rid
it.
of, but like I'm like a lot of the stuff is things that you can't buy from traders or what have you, or that are just a bit more annoying to get.
Right.
So like, but then I never really die, so
Right,
you
you end
just
up
end
with
up
so
filling it
much
up
stuff.
with
Yeah,
just like
And when you
random
do
stuff.
die, you just get all your stuff
you get
back.
everything
You know
back
what I mean? It's
anyways.
like
You're just out some ammo.
Yeah, so like there's or there's just helmets and stuff that you just pick up every now and again.
See, we have the CQCM, so I keep like 5 helmets and a couple Death Shadow masks, and that's it. It's stupid.
yeah.
Dude, the
I like
CQCMs, once you get them unlocked from Lightkeeper, they are so nice. I
And
love them.
it's like
obviously
I
you
can't
still
even
need
buy
helmets for
the
night vision, but
Yeah, right. That's about the only time I have them.
like, I
yeah,
can't buy
yeah.
the Bastion plates at the
No,
minute.
yeah, unfortunately.
So I'm holding on to all of
Yeah,
my
I don't blame you
Bastion
there.
plates
I don't blame you there
from
on that at all.
Yeah, there's
like
certain things that you only get so many opportunities to get it, so you might as well hold on to it. But then it just sits in your stash because you never really use it. So
Yeah. Killer's
it's like
Neo
these,
Steel helmet. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
those are cool.
That's
and they're
awesome.
mega expensive right now as well.
Yeah, they're
Like
crazy
Oh
expensive.
wow, 29 mil. Damn.
Yeah.
this is what I said. Like I made a video on event stuff, and because I was like, I bought like I can't remember how many I bought. I bought like 20 of these, because I was like, "Oh, I've got loads of money. I'll see if I can make some money. And I sold them all for like 15 million. I bought them for like 3 when the
Damn.
event was on. So like I was making like 20 million off of each one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and anytime there's an event, any like custom event items, it's always wise
The
to hold on to them
backpacks,
because
yeah, all the cool
yeah,
stuff that comes with it. Yeah.
because
Yeah,
eventually people want them. People that didn't hold them, they want some and they're willing to pay for them.
because even this, like for example, like I'm pretty sure it was like 60k or something,
Yeah,
or like
yeah,
50k. It was
65,
like
70K,
minimum,
yeah.
and like that's like 700. So like if you wanted that, and then there's like, oh, what's it called? The armor. I don't know where that'll be there.
Oh, the killer, yeah, the
Yeah, the
gingerbread
gingerbread
armor.
armor,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's
9
9
mil,
9
10
million.
mil.
mil, yeah. Solid.
So like I think it would be cool if they did like limited time events only, like you know how they did like those string of events like maybe like a year ago now, where it was just like you got the items to display in your hideout on like the display case, like
Oh
just
yeah,
keep on doing those,
yeah.
because those are actually quite engaging. Like I've
Right.
spent time just going through, and they like persist throughout wipes, don't they, as well? So like you get them every time.
Yeah, like the cat
Um,
hologram, yeah.
yeah, so like on your Hall of Fame or what have you. I have no idea how I've got 2, by the way. Like,
I mean, you know,
I think it's
Just
because
busted it
when
out.
the wipe happened, there was just another one in my in my stash. So
oh
like
Wasn't
well,
there a bug with the Cultist Circle if you had him
maybe
in the slot and sent one out or something? I don't know. Maybe
yeah,
not.
I'm not sure.
There's always something weird
maybe that's
happening.
how I got it.
I
No
can't
idea. I can't remember. But I was like, what the hell? But yeah, there's just tons of stuff that I think would be cool. And I think they'll start doing that once game launches.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
key
I think
case
so.
is extremely handy. What's another case that you would like to either see expanded on or just added in general? I think the armor plate case is really cool, but I think they need to be larger than what they currently are.
Yeah, they definitely need to be bigger. Because, like, there's not much of a difference in terms of space size
Right.
versus just, like, having a thick case. Like, it's basically double the size, and you can put just as much stuff in there. So, like, what's that? Like, double?
Yeah, pretty well. More or less double. Yeah,
So,
I don't know. Maybe pistol cases, I think, would be another one I'd like to see, like just like a few slots larger. If I could fit like 2 or 3 more pistols in there, that'd be awesome.
I'm
I'd
pretty
like
sure I sold all of mine.
Yeah,
Because,
I
Yeah, I
keep
have
a few.
2.
I
Yeah, and I
throw
put
ammo
mags
in
in
them
them.
or
Yeah.
mags. Yeah,
yeah, like I wish they could do more with, like, the weapon rack or something. Like,
Well, there was one of the
yeah.
dev
That
series
picture.
Nikita posted. They showed a screenshot of what looked like an upgraded mannequin, or maybe maybe it was just level 3 weapon rack that's coming with 1.0 or in the next patch or something. but you were able to, it looked like, position your pistols, have way more weapons. It was on an actual wall. It had a like there was a left wall and a right wall, and there you had the weapon rack on both of them. And then your mannequin was standing in front of that, which looked like you were able to put like more stuff on it. Maybe I'm not entirely sure, but
Yeah, and then there was
uh,
a smaller gun rack like in the floor, and then some
yeah,
weapons laying on the floor. And
yeah,
I
they
don't know
added,
if that was just for looks or if that's an actual thing they're adding.
So like maybe some more hideout expansions would be cool.
yeah,
Like they've definitely got room for them.
yeah, absolutely.
And like there's plenty of cool ideas that you could do in your hideout. Like contracts or something. Like separate to like tasks system that we've currently got. Contracts would be kind of cool.
Contracts would be cool.
Like
Yeah,
as
just
an
have like a
end game
contract wall.
activity.
Yeah.
So you completed all the tasks in the game, but or like as you're going, but the contracts just give you money as opposed to like items. They just simply give you, I don't know, money or like achievement type style stuff. Like
Yeah, if they were
customizable.
like war locked towards achievements, that would be cool. That's another thing I'd like to see expanded is the achievement list, just like more, just more.
Yeah, which I think they started with like the Korovod event and stuff like that, where they're adding in like achievements, like rewards for the completing certain achievements. But
Yeah,
I
I
just
feel like that's something we're going to get a lot more of.
Yeah, it's a good system. It definitely is.
like I've just not actually done most of them because I've had no reason to.
Yeah, some of them are not, not exciting really, and other ones I've done just, to do them with other people. Like if other people want to do them, especially like the core VOD stuff, I probably wouldn't have did it if it was just me. But considering we had a bunch of people wanting to do it.
Yeah, we had a really good go at it too. We got through on the first run, no problem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Everybody stayed alive. It was really clean.
I did not. I did a couple, and I ran out of ammo on the first one. I didn't realize how much ammo you'd actually need
Yeah.
for the scavs coming, because I was just solo, just on my own, trying to do it, and it was just so much ammo.
Oh yeah, it's
Uh,
absurd what you had to carry doing solo.
Yeah, we took what, 5 people?
Yeah, we did a full 5 stack.
yeah, that's definitely the play. Because like even as a 3 when I did it, we got the one I found hardest was reserve. Like by the time you get to the place, you have like no time. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
you're
pretty
just
sure I ran
so
out of
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Like literally didn't have any, and I didn't loot or anything. Just ran straight there, and yeah,
Yeah,
that
we
was
had a good
chaos.
strategy where we would put two of us like up on a hillside to like cover the incoming roads, and then you'd have like the rest of them down at the actual uh place where everything was.
Yeah,
And it's
covering
like
like each
guarding the
angle and
generator, and
yeah.
yeah, it's like so we had it. We did it pretty easily. Like, and I mean, all it takes is numbers. If you have that many people, it's easy. But I would like more events where you can do them solo, and just because I usually do play solo, or at least like a 2-man max. I don't like running with a big group. The game feels too easy.
Well, not only that, it gets really convoluted
Confusing.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, really confusing. When you're playing in a large group, especially as soon as that 2 or 3 of them are like, "We're gonna go this way," it's like, "Oh, okay." Instead of
And then
being
you
a
run into
big
them and you
cohesive
start
unit,
shooting them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, "Why are you shooting me? You shot me!" Blah blah blah. Or just
Yeah.
like
And how many
you turn a
times?
corner, somebody's sitting there, tells you they're somewhere else, they're sitting there in front of you, you kill them, and they're like, "Oh, dude, what the fuck?" Like so many just stupid situations happen.
I
The
hate
amount of
that more
times
than anything.
where I've been to the other way as well, where you're like, oh, it must be one of the guys, and then they just turn
Yeah.
around
Yeah,
and just beat me straight in the head,
yeah.
and you're like, damn it.
Yeah, and they don't communicate. You're sitting there like, "Hey, I'm moving in over here," and they're like, "Oh, okay." It's like I'm letting you know where I'm at, so you can tell me where you're
Tell me
at.
where the fuck
And
you
like,
are. Is this
yeah,
you?
they just
Yeah,
don't say
that's
anything.
me. Well, what? This is you on the
Wait a
stairs?
minute,
Oh no, that's
where are
not me.
you?
Oh shit, I'm dead. Yeah.
I love it because as soon
Uh,
as you get in raid, like you'll have like 2 or 3 people that'll just take off
they
running in
just
one
go.
direction and not
Yeah.
say anything. Yeah, and you're sitting there like, what are you doing?
Let
Oh
me and
yeah, we're
these other
looting.
guys go this way and
And
just do
yeah,
something else. I guess. Fuck us.
I just don't understand why people want to come and raid with you and then just run away. It's like if you want to go and raid and loot, go by yourself. Why come in my raid? You know what I mean? Like it
Right.
doesn't make sense.
What's the point?
The only times I ever join people is A, I want to do some stupid things, like for example, running in with pistols on like killer with like
Fair,
3
yeah.
people, or like the other thing is like just teaching like one of your mates or someone who wants a hand with something.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. Like, because there's not really any point for like I don't need the security or whatever that
No,
comes
yeah.
with being in a bigger group. And sometimes it, as you said earlier, it just becomes annoying when you have like 5 people from like trying to figure out where everyone is.
Play style is important too, and you know what I mean. It's hard enough to find 1 or 2 people that play similar to you. If you just start letting people in, you know, like random raids, it just becomes like it just messes my
Sloppy.
whole like flow up. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I feel for the people that taught me at the beginning because Tarkov was like my first FPS on keyboard and mouse
Oh,
because
Oh wow.
rough.
I'd like
Yeah.
transitioned from PC. It wasn't actually too bad to be honest, but yeah, it was
A
a
lot of
weird.
keybinds to learn.
It's mainly just like the movement. I was such a bot with the movement, like WSD and that sort of
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
and like leaning and everything. I'm still not amazing because yeah, but
It's an art form. It really is. It is an art form.
Yeah, it takes years and years and years to master. It really does.
That super clean, like jiggle peeking and everything people do. Some of the like, it's just crazy. It's an art
Yeah,
form.
most people who are insane have been on mouse and keyboard since they were like 2. You know, it's like their parents put them on a computer when they were a baby.
yeah, and they've been playing FPSs like
Yeah,
ever
yeah, like
since as
Shroud. You know
well.
what I mean? Like his
Yeah.
dad like was having him play like FPSs when he was a kid, and I mean it shows. You can tell like there is a difference.
And like you got to want to practice as well. Like for me, I don't really need to like utilize jiggle peeking against AI. Like there's
Right. Yeah, there's no use in it.
not really.
Yeah.
There's no point.
Fake the
But like
AI out.
I'd do
if
it
I
for
knew
fun
I was going
sometimes.
to, yeah, if I knew I was going to play a lot of PvP like during one specific wipe, like a ton of it, then yeah, I'd just sit down and learn how to do it properly,
Well, what's funny
and
is on
then
PvP, I
that's it.
play so much slower and way more stealthy and tactical. I don't need those skills 9 out of 10 times, right? Like if I'm in resort even, I'm still creeping around. I'm trying to catch people off guard. I try to avoid a lot of those like peer to peer, whoever peaks fastest, whoever's holding the right lane. You know what I mean? Like those kind of fights, I typically lose, and it's probably because I don't put the practice into the skill. But ideally, I just never have to be in those situations. Is my play style.
Slow and tactical is such an advantage though because you catch so many people off guard. Because
Oh yeah,
especially
absolutely.
you know like newer people, they just go running around hot mic and you know it's like you hear every move they're making, and it's just basically if you're caught off guard in Tarkov, you're pretty much dead.
You got to do the. I'm more of like a Leroy Jenkins. You'll just book it in, hope I don't die, and then
Right.
try and find someone
Assess the
to shoot.
situation from there. Yeah. Step
Yeah,
one, get
yeah,
in the
yeah.
door.
Like, yeah, that's the main thing. Is
Yeah.
like it's not to the point where you're doing stupid things like running through an open field or anything like that. But
Right.
I do like just if I play PvP, it's mainly just to literally get into fights with people.
Fight. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well, especially with PVE now, it's like I can do all my tasking here, and I can treat PvP like just that, just specifically for PvP. I'm going in there to fight things. In the last few times I've done that, I've actually ran guns more in line with fighting players and like tried to just be a little bit more aggressive. But dude, there's such a steep learning curve even in that, right? Like going from just like a casual, slower play style that's more methodical to a running gun play style. Like there's a lot to learn with how to move even when you're moving quickly.
this is like running between doors and stuff, quick checking
Yeah, yeah.
before you enter in, and then it's just like fighting in buildings and stuff like that is learning the art style, like jumping out of windows to like flank around.
Yeah, unexpected like plays that most people don't expect. Like it intimidates people too when they have no idea what you're doing. It scares the shit out of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A few well placed shots. They hear a window break. You're on the other side. You're
Yeah,
opening a
yeah.
door. You're running past theirs. You're dropping a
Like
nade. You know, like
the beginning of Wipe, it was during the Christmas event. I remember I went into dorms. You was with me. Remember, you had laid down behind a tree or something, and there was a guy on the roof, and He
Oh
shot you.
yeah,
There were two guys. He
laying down
shot you
killed me.
somehow. Yeah, I don't know how he killed you, but he killed you, and I rush up because I had nothing to lose at that moment. I don't even know what he's doing, but I rush
We're
up there, and
rocking
it's him and
bad
his
kids doing
buddy.
early wipe tasks.
Yeah, and it's him and his buddy, and I just start busting out every window near me. I start just throwing nades everywhere, and they're just freaking out. I literally run up to the door, open the door, jump right in front of the guy, forgot to reload my gun. I just sit there and point the gun at him,
Click.
and he don't even shoot me. Like, he just runs, and then I just run back in, reload my gun, run back out and kill him. And I'm like, why did he just like run? Like, he could have killed me so easy. I think he was just so clueless
Caught
as
off
what I was
guard and
doing.
scared. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't know what to do. He was talking to me too. He's like, "Dude, what are you doing? We don't have to do this, man." I'm like, "No, you killed my friend."
Dude, that was bullshit too. I should not have died there. I don't know. One, how he
Yeah, I
saw
don't
me and knew
know.
exactly where I was
Yeah,
at was a little bit suspect. Like, there's not often that I call cheats. Sometimes, like when I'm mad, I'm like, "That fucking he was cheating," But like instantly, I know that's not the
that
case.
was
But
weird.
it was suspect. It was nighttime.
Yeah.
I'm moving dead silent, not making any noise, not doing anything. I happened to lay down behind a tree in a bush, which should have been plenty of cover. And dude comes out, and Adam said he wasn't even wearing night vision. Dude
No,
comes
he
out
wasn't.
and just looks down and burns me out, and I'm like, "What the fuck? How?" Like, that's
Yeah, I
crazy,
was so
And I mean,
confused
like maybe
because
like light was hitting me weird, my backpack was showing, like something else could have been the case. I don't see his side of it, so I'm not like saying he was cheating, but it was
well, the
suspect.
weird thing was I killed him so easy. Like, it made no sense because it's like if he was
Right?
cheating, why did like? So it's
Yeah,
like I don't understand. That whole fight was weird.
yeah. We've had a few
That's
fights.
what
Go ahead.
PvP is.
Yeah, a bunch of weird
Yeah.
fights, right? That's what I was getting ready to say. Even this wipe, when we neither one of us have played a lot of PvP, the few fights that we have gotten into have been weird, especially at dorms. There was
Yeah.
the guy that was running shitty night vision with the RP or PKP or RPDN or something, one of the LMGs, and he kills you, stops shooting me, lets me heal to full, and then just
Oh
goes up and
yeah.
starts looting you while I'm running around
Yeah.
making noise, and he's trying to loot. Like it
Yeah.
was just like it was so weird. Like what was he doing?
I
He was
remember I was looting the snowman out
snowman,
front.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like it really trips me out sometimes watching other players react to situations because like those of us with enough time in the game or those of us that just like have a basic understanding of how like the firefights play out in a lot of situations or just like don't overreact and panic watching those players like you can almost see when they jump and you scare them, you know what I mean, like because like it's
Oh
happened to
yeah.
us all, I'm sure, creeping through somewhere at night and somebody shoots at you or like a shotgun goes off in your ear. But like you can almost see them get scared and like turn and run and like try to go and shut doors and like do like just crazy stuff when it's like, but then 2 seconds later they're back out trying to loot that same body. It's like it just they do things that does not make sense.
It's like that wiggle when you catch someone off guard, and you can see their mouse becomes active,
Yeah, yeah,
and they're like moving about.
right.
You pull out your shotgun with Piranha. That genuinely the MP155 or MP153 even with Piranha. The
Yeah, either
amount of
one.
times I have just where you put the 8 round or 8 shell.
Boom,
That
boom,
is
boom, boom,
that
boom.
is
Yeah,
lethal.
it
The
is.
amount of
Yeah.
times I kill killer with that thing is crazy.
Even Magnum Buck, like cheap and effective, man. You pepper people's legs and they die quick. Like
Yeah.
especially early wipe. It's such an easy round to buy and get a hold of, and it's like you can just like destroy people fast.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the customs, like the room which you can jump into, like on 3 story at the very bottom floor. Like, there's no
Yeah.
point in going in the room. It's just literally it's barricaded like the door, so
Yeah,
you can't get like you jump in from the outside.
right.
Right.
Like me and a mate just sat in there once, and I had my Piranha shotgun. Well, we both did,
Waiting on
and
people
we
to walk
just sat
by.
sat in there,
Yeah.
and just like you just hear someone like rustling by, and we must have killed like 10 people, maybe well not quite, maybe like 8 or something between
Right.
us, and there was just like like when we came out, there was just a mountain. It was everyone kind of walking by, and when you just see them like looking around on the floor, like what the hell happened here? And
Yeah.
then they then they look at the door, like the little window, and they're like, oh,
Yeah, it
Silhouette
slowly
of
hits
two
them. They're like,
PMCs.
"Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
It all
I'm about
makes
to be the
sense
next one."
now. Yeah.
I've seen Stank Rat in that spot so many times too.
Yeah, it's a
and that's
greasy one.
Yeah, it is. It was so funny. It was so. I wish I was recording at that time.
Because
But
even if people hear you, a lot of people have no idea that you can even go in there. You know what I mean? So
Right.
they don't even know where to look.
yeah. I don't know. Is it still a thing? I'm assuming it is.
As
I've
far
not
as I
been
know,
in.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
haven't
don't think
checked that
they've
in a
ever
long time.
patched
But
it out or anything.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird one to get into because it's not easy to like just jump in there. But obviously a well time grenade is just
yeah.
a
Yeah.
well time grenade,
That's the
and
end
you're
of it.
just done.
Yeah, you're not getting out.
That's the worst when you've been waiting for a little while, right? When you're trying to do like a meme, and you've been waiting there for a while. You come across the first person, and they like clock you straight away, and then and you just see the nade come through the window or like
Yeah.
something, and you're like,
You hear
damn
that sound and you're like,
it.
uh-oh. You know there's nothing you can do. Like, it's just
Oh
over
yeah,
at that
you're
point.
just stuck.
But yeah, it was good fun. But the one thing I just never liked too much about PvP was just how passive some people can be, like mega passive. And I'm just like, you know when you like take out like 4 or 5 people, and then there is the stank rats of the world, and you just like you don't even loot, you just like leave to go somewhere else,
And they're just waiting on you.
and they're just sat like in the most like it wouldn't even make sense as a rat to rat in where they sit. It is such an off place situation where it's like a person with like 80 hours, and they've literally
Right.
just like they've
They
picked
saw
like the
Stink
most
Rat do it
random
once,
ass.
and yeah.
They've seen like a random ass spot in the middle of
Yeah.
like a non-playable area where no one goes, and like you just happen to stumble in there, and there's just someone sat lying prone in a little alleyway or something, and you're like, for God's sake. And you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
that is the guy I died to, not like the
None of the
6 or
action
7
combat that
people that
just
I've
happened.
actually
Right.
like taken.
That's the worst kind of death because you know there's absolutely nothing you could do. And it's
Yeah,
like,
you do everything
you just,
right.
there's no reason to expect someone there. Like, there's nothing you could do. And it's unfortunate, but, you know, it does happen.
But sometimes those people are so inexperienced that they start shooting you and you still
Just
get 'em.
whiff. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's true too.
I
You
love
Yeah, a
turn
lot
that.
of times
around.
they'll panic shoot and miss every shot. Like 15 shots just go over your head, and then you're like, what?
And then you see them panic properly, where like they get
Yeah,
up
they're
and they
trying to
suddenly
reload.
like try and run around and they're reloading.
Yeah,
The early work fights are always the fun when
yeah,
people don't have ammo and they
No
just
ammo,
like
no armor. Yeah, everybody's just struggling to get
they empty a
by.
mag and then they're pulling out their like melee to try.
Yeah.
yeah. Bad ammo, bad bullets. I mean, bad ammo, bad guns, bad armor is like, it's just so
Fun.
much better. The fights last so much longer. It's just,
Right.
it's fun.
The worst is the woods task. I hate that one. To get Jaeger, like
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
the
everybody's
letter.
rushing that spot,
Yeah, it's
It's just so
chaos.
annoying.
dude.
And like there's just people camping there at the beginning
Not
and
gonna
I
just
was
lie.
like
Go ahead,
uh
Adam.
I was doing so good a couple wipes ago, and I had, you know, been waiting on that task, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to go at night. I'm going to, you know, not
no,
run
I'm
in. I'm
not.
just going to sit and wait. So I go up on the hill, I sit and I wait, and, you know, I've done everything right. And all of a sudden, someone comes running through. I'm like, oh shit, they're running right to me. Well, I was like, I'm just going to have to take them down. Of all people, it was, oh shit, what's his name?
The Australian
He's
guy?
really good. No, he's not Australian. He's really good. He's always got the labs freaking videos.
Trey?
No,
Higgs?
he's shit.
Not
Why can't I think
The
of
Willie.
his name?
Generals?
No,
Willers?
he's
Yeah. Desmond? I'm just naming
no,
good
no.
PvPers. Um,
He doesn't have an item in game, but he's anyways. Well, I ran into a streamer and he killed me like easily, and I was just like, man, like I did everything right, and it's like of all people to run into at nighttime, it's like you
right.
would
Mega
think he'd be
Chad.
going in during the day fighting everybody, but no, he was doing the same thing I was doing, and it's like he's a top tier PvPer, and there he is fighting me in the dark, hiding
At
up on a hill.
nighttime
It
because he
just
can't get the
it
task
blew my
done.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So what I like
Yeah,
to
it's because
do
it's
with
so
that
random.
task, yeah,
yeah,
it is. And that's what I love about Tarkov too, is just the absolute chaos that pops off at any random moment. From 0 to like 10,000. Like it just can just at the drop of a dime, it just changes like that. And that's cool because you can unexpectedly be just like walking over Mountain Pass, right? And get in between the mountain and sawmill, and all of a sudden shots flying overhead. It's popping off at the sawmill. There's shots at the rocks. There's scavs running from the other side. There's PMCs coming in. Like, and you're just
Oh,
in the
shit.
middle of it, and you're like, oh, I gotta go. I gotta do this. I gotta get out of here. Um, yeah, I love the randomness of Tarkov. But what I like to do with the woods task or the Jaeger task, is go in and sit around the area and just try to keep it clear for other people for a few minutes before I leave. Which I usually go in pretty slow with that one. Like I like to wait till late, go in and creep in, crawl up there, grab it, creep out. But if I can, I'll sit there for a few 5 minutes or so and just like try to kill a couple people coming in, fucking camping in bushes and shit, sitting next to trees.
Yeah,
There's
it's
Real
like
quick update from the Tarkov community. Paracords can now be put in the special slot.
let's go.
oh
Yeah, devs just done it. Someone asked for it at the beginning 14 days ago, and they say right now they are now in the game. Can be placed in your special
Paracord.
slot.
Yep. Let's go.
wait, let me
That's
test.
what makes that Tarkov community so awesome, man. They're doing
Yeah,
so many cool things.
I mean, that makes sense. That literally makes sense as well.
it
It
does.
does.
Have you guys had to deal much with the AI quick grenade throws?
Now I see so many people telling me that they're dying to AI grenades, right? I it's like, yeah, the only times I actually die is usually to a nade
Yeah.
from an AI, but it's not that often.
No, I don't
But
think I've
I see a
noticed
lot
them
of
like
people talk about like them being taken out by like nades that just land at their feet. Like it's just not happened to me.
it
Yeah, I
happens to
can't
me
really.
all the time. Grenades landing at my feet
Yeah.
anyways, like just well placed grenades on PVE. There's been times where Adam and I were close in the distance from the grenade and I'll die and he's like, "Yeah, I'm kind of hurt, but I'm fine." But yeah,
Yeah.
I've
I've
died a
definitely
lot
had
to
it, but
I've had a scav facing away from me, crouched and facing away from me, throw a grenade from under his legs, like between his legs, backwards, and kill me with it. I have a clip
what
of
you
it. Yeah, he literally shot it out of his asshole. Um,
Oh yeah, I do remember that. I remember
yeah,
that. I
shot it
do
out of his
remember that.
asshole, and I tried to run from it once I heard
Yep.
but it was just well thrown. You know what I mean? Well, shit, I should say.
yeah.
Yeah, I
What
have.
I've got a question that I was wondering.
Yeah,
What would you say to having a character, like multiple characters to your account? So like you could have a USEC, a
and a
bear,
bear,
but you'd also have hardcore as like an actual thing that you can
like
choose.
yeah, you can opt into running
So
hardcore. Yeah.
so
You could
rather
have a
than just
permadeath
like
character, and then you could have your regular PvP or PvE account that's just doing your tasks and just normally playing the game, but then have your second account strictly for challenges and just like weird stuff or whatever you want to use it for. I think that would be
so
pretty cool. Instead of having to have
like what
multiple logins, just have it all tied to one. I
yeah,
think that would be awesome.
because I had to pay for a new, well, Tarkov again, obviously, to have a second account,
Right.
which was because I didn't want to lose all my PVE stuff by resetting. So I just thought, like, to do a hardcore. And obviously, I don't want all, like, to have my hardcore, like, sharing a stash, because then, like, you know, if you put something into a task, you don't know, like, whether it's come from, like, the hardcore items that you might have got or what. It just becomes a nightmare. So, like, I'd love for them to add in the ability to have like characters, so multiple characters.
Yeah, that would be
I'll
nice.
have to go back and look at it, but I know in the last interview that Pesley did with Nikita, he asked him that, and I'm pretty sure Nikita said that he would consider it because Nikita or Pesley said, you know, like I want a specific hardcore character, but I don't want to always have to, you know, use another account or use my main character. And he just kind of explained it and the benefits of it. And Nikita looked like he was agreeing with it. He didn't come out and say yes, but if I remember correctly, he did say that they were looking into it, trying to figure out a way to do it.
Yeah, because I think that would be cool. I
Yeah,
think it from BSG standpoint, the problem would be is that you could duplicate all of the data that they have to store.
right.
That is
So
true.
that
Yeah,
would probably be
it's probably a
like
client side
Logistical
thing.
nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah,
they'll
it's
have
more of a
to.
logistical thing rather than
Yeah.
like, could they actually do it? Like, they probably could do it, but
And there's probably a ton of stuff like that that a lot of us just don't know, like certain
like
ways that the
back
game
end.
works. Yeah, certain things that they've done over the years, or certain ways they've done things where it probably eliminates some things that sound easy. Um, because it seems like most things that are suggested to them, if they can do it, they seem to do it. As long as majority of people seem to want it. Especially now, they seem like they're trying to really give us everything we're asking for.
Yeah,
The
at
key
least everything
case
that's
we know.
feasible.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
dude,
with
that
the
key case is
devs
gonna be
now,
huge.
with that Tarkov community, like some dude just says, "Give me where I can put paracord in my special slot," and within a week or two, they have it in game already. It's just crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah, like,
really interesting.
because there's some things that I just don't even think about that
Yeah, I
people
would never think of that
come up
really.
with. Like,
No,
Like
yeah,
because it's
I might,
always been in the game like that, like you just don't really think about it.
yeah,
or you
that's
might
fair.
even think about it one time in raid or something. You might think, "Man, I wish I could just put that in my special slot." But how many times after that are you going to really think about that or
Right.
even dwell on it? You know what I mean? Like you just do what you got to do to use it, like you always have.
That makes
So
it so
yeah, I
much
think
more justifiable to run those extracts now too. Like I just have to throw my red
Yeah.
rebel on. That's easy because I've already been running with an empty special slot. So I'll just throw paracord in there, rock the red rebel, and I can take mountain pass for reserve now, which saves me a lot of time and struggle going to D2 when I don't need to. Yeah, that's huge. That's a massive fix. I think that's a really good one.
the red rebel extract I always use for Lighthouse and when I'm not having to do tasks in.
I
Yeah.
run the
Re-
sword. I have the M-2 sword, the 511 sword or whatever. I love that thing. It looks cool as shit. So I always end
Reserve,
up
it
just
comes
running
in
it.
clutch too.
Yeah, it
I
is
I
huge on
love
reserve and
Yeah,
having that
lighthouse.
reserve
option
is
on
big,
reserve.
especially on PvP.
Well, yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say lighthouse on PvP. It's awesome. You're able to go loot chalets and get out, or get a couple kills and get out, or whatever, But
They got a lot of guns too. A lot of guns that are planned. Like people have been asking for, and they're putting planned on almost all of them.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
I mean, like the RPGs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, dude,
Like,
that shit's gonna be crazy.
Is there any gun that you'd like to see in there that we don't have?
I'd just like to see it, like maybe some more shotguns.
Yeah, shotguns.
I'm a bit of a shotgun fiend. I love a good shotgun.
Yeah,
Maybe give us like I don't know, give us like a meaty shotgun.
I'd like to see the Keltec shotgun. I'm a Keltec fanboy as it is. I like Keltec. Granted, they are what they are. So there's a few different shotguns. I always forget about this too, but the KSG 12,
Oh yeah,
I think it's pretty cool looking from Keltec. It looks
is
similar to
that the
the
pump action?
RFB. It's like a bullpup. It's a bullpup
Yeah,
shotgun.
yeah, yeah. It's a
Yeah,
bullpup pump action, right?
yeah, I think so.
looks a bit like the one from Halo, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
I'm
it does.
thinking,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
looks a little bit like that.
yeah. And then the other one is
Oh,
the Spaz 12, the
oh yeah, yeah. That's the Russian.
Spetsnaz,
Y- Is
Spetsnaz,
that what the division's
Spetsnaz.
called?
Yeah,
Yeah,
something like
something
that.
like it. Yeah.
But those
Yeah,
two
just some
shotguns
more
I would
shot.
love to see added. Yeah,
I feel like people they sleep on shotguns. Like
dude, all day.
a lot of people just they don't even run them. We had
They
someone
don't.
the other day telling us that shotguns sucked. Who was that?
Who do you think it was?
Oh, it was Bob. Yeah, it was Bob.
Of course, it was
No, they're
Bob.
amazing.
Dude,
The like
shotguns
Yeah, he was.
shred.
semi-auto ones, like MP153. The amount of times I've killed bosses and people from miles away as well. By the
Dude,
way, like
AP-20
with
just or 50 BMG. Any of the heavy hitting slugs are gonna
Yeah,
shred.
you can. Yeah, you can snipe with them. Like, and
Yeah,
they have good distance and accuracy. Like, especially if you use the like, long barrels. Like,
I mean, even with like Flechette and Piranha, like from
yeah,
distance, you can still headshot people.
oh, Flechette,
yeah. I've been
absolutely. I don't have the
surprised.
best luck with Piranha. It might just
Some of
be.
I
the.
find it's fine. You just
Yeah, I was
mag
gonna
them
say
with the shotgun,
Yeah,
like
that's fair. That's fair.
anything like super heavy armored,
Yeah.
because
because
it
all
still
you
has
need.
a chance to go through.
Yeah, and all you need is a pellet or two to just hit them in an unarmored like head area, and they're dead.
Yeah, it's gonna
Like,
do enough damage.
Yeah, like I've headshot Killer so many times with Piranha. Same with
yeah,
Tagilla as well, both of them.
I say
Like
I
from
always
the
just go
front.
AP-20. That's all I ever run in my shotguns is AP-20. I know it's a bad
It's like I
habit.
like the I like the RSH with the PS12B
Oh,
or
dude.
PS12A, the one that has
Yeah.
more damage.
The
I
flesh
can't
damage
remember
one?
which one
Yeah.
it is. Yeah. You just you just destroy their leg
Yeah.
and they're just gone.
The
And, like, you can just
RSH-12
Thorax
is a
them.
great time. Honestly, since they added the rail to the RFB, it's
Yeah,
gone up
yeah.
tremendously in functionality for me now. I know
Yeah,
Adam
I've been
actually still
running a
uses it.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
What
cheap. It's it's a entry 308 gun that pretty much it. I feel like it performs above its stats. Like it feels so much better than a lot of guns.
what would you say is currently your favorite gun in Tarkov right now? Like, what do you find yourself using the most?
In terms of the one I just liked playing with on PVE was the SR3M. That thing was
Okay,
was
yeah,
That is a
yeah,
shredded.
good gun. Yeah, that is. Yeah.
yeah,
The only problem with it is it does overheat very quickly.
yeah.
Yeah, all
So
those.
against like the goons and stuff like that, it can be a bit of an issue if they all push you all at once.
Feels like all the 9x39 weapons they seem to degrade pretty fast. I think that's obviously on purpose because in real life that there's a reason they don't run like the high pin 9x39 in guns is because it's known to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a
But the
roughing
fact
it to
that they even
run.
put that in the game, you know what I mean? The fact that that's in the game, that they actually degrade faster like they should in real life is just it surprises me sometimes.
Yeah, they definitely go above and beyond with the gun mechanics.
But yeah, the SR3, it's like a little mini Val, especially if you
Yeah.
pimp it out.
Yes, I
Yeah,
love the
it's
Val as well. Like
yeah, same.
Yeah,
both of them. I just like the 9x39s. Just because
yeah,
they have high damage for
Yeah,
yeah.
the
They do.
you can
It's a
get
it's
good
a
ammo for it.
big bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, they're not the best for multiple target, like interchange, for example. I would not
Well,
run an
and
SR3M.
the range fall off is pretty severe.
yeah.
Bullet
Yeah,
velocity is pretty shit.
yeah,
Which is that's another thing I guess they could add a little more in depth is subsonic versus supersonic rounds for the 9x39. I don't know. I don't think I might be wrong, but I don't know if there's actual like
Yeah,
some of the
there is.
9x39 rounds should be subsonic.
Yeah, the SP5 is, I'm pretty sure, and I know at least a couple of them are.
But yeah, and I know there's a few other platforms that also run subsonic and supersonic. So like pretty much anything
Yeah,
in
the
suppressor.
PS12
Yeah,
and the PS12A I think are both subsonic.
it's like I once did a video on the RSH. I put a sniper scope on it, and I was like the best sniper in Tarkov.
that's the
That's
best way
what I
to
said.
run it is with the sniper scope.
And
Yeah.
like someone was like, "This is not the best sniper." I was like, "Yeah, I know." I was like,
Just figured that out. Huh?
oh, like
Yeah.
just slapping my head, like aiming, like because I didn't do any of the like sighting, so like the whole point was like to do bullet drop as well.
Yeah.
So like you're aiming way above where things are hitting, and so like yeah, I was sat on reserve on top of the dome with an RSH sniper,
Just lobbing fucking massive rounds down at people.
and you just see him like just get hit, and like you're like, damn, I didn't actually take him out. Must have hit him in the leg, and just see him like limping over. But yeah, stuff like that. I like it. I like doing that where it's a bit more of a challenge.
More
So like
trolly and
weapons,
fun. Yeah.
yeah. So anything like that. I quite like DMRs as well. So that's quite fun.
I'd like to see some new furniture added for the VPO.
Hmm.
It's a nice little DMR, but low capacity. You're stuck with a wooden stock. Can't really put a sight on it. Like you just can't do much with it. And I wish you could, but it's really it's a good round. Like it's a good gun.
Which VPO are you talking about?
The semi-auto, right, like the hunting rifle one. Oh my god, it's the wooden stock, the VPO 110
Oh, the
or
308 one,
VPO,
the
yeah,
308.
the 308. Yeah,
Yeah.
can't remember exactly which one, but yeah, I like the VPO.
Yeah.
If you could just do like
Yeah,
change it the stock up and or yeah, like the butt or yeah,
it's got that ultra long suppressor.
yeah,
It's actually a good gun. It really is. Very good gun, especially early game.
yeah, it does well. You can get like a Spectre and stuff on it. Like you can put some sights on there.
Yeah, you can put stuff on it. Yeah, and like scavs have it all the time, so it's easy to get.
Yeah, I would just like to see them kind of add more furniture for it.
Yeah.
I'm always a bit of a pistol person as well. I love a pistol.
I haven't been running pistols
Yeah.
much lately. We used to run them all the time. I just don't anymore.
Well, we've talked about it. Like, it'd be nice to see some new pistol rounds added, like a new caliber.
40 cal would be great. 10
Yeah,
millimeter would be
like
cool.
10 millimeter.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just something that, and like with the 45, like some new 45 pistols, some with the
Vector
45
mags.
weapons in general, just mags. Yeah, just like
Yeah.
bigger mags for the and the vector, and like because the AP is such a good round. It's just there's not very many guns, especially besides the vector and the It's like you just have no reason to run it, and running the enough times to know that if there was a decent like AR type gun where you could have some distance on your shots and stuff, like it would be like really really good. We did the
I've not
cultist
actually
hunting with
ran
it, and like I loved it.
Yeah, I ran
It'd
the
be nice to
SKS.
Oh, the SKS.
Yeah, you can pimp the SKS out now.
Yeah,
Like
you
Yeah,
could.
make it
yeah.
So
like
good.
stat wise, it's great.
There's so many good like weapons that you can try out on this game.
Yeah,
I would like to see like a full on Magnum coming.
yeah, yeah. And we've been doing a lot of
44
the
mag would be dope, yeah.
testing. We've been doing is just like trying to see how big the difference is. Between good guns, bad guns, and certain stats. And it's like the more testing we do, the conclusion I'm really leaning towards is the difference is not much. And it's not near as bad as I thought it was.
Obviously, it varies on certain platforms. Like if you're
It
running
does.
like an MPX with a short barrel versus a long barrel, there's going to be some differences in certain things. But when it comes to just like Adam was saying, just building a gun in general, finding that balance point to where it just kind of works well
Yeah.
is surprisingly easier to do. Like you don't always have to run metal parts, and you don't always have
No,
to.
you can make most guns pretty useful.
Yeah, especially if you play PVE. Like you do
Yeah.
not need to run meta guns on PVE.
No.
Like the MDR, like the 7.62s.
Yeah, it's
stuff like that.
so freaking good.
Like you just don't need to use it. Like I've been meaning to use some like maybe do a video just literally grabbing a trader gun and just using the exact weapon mods that are on some of the trader
The
guns.
build they offer, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this like weird ass MDR, like I don't even know.
That's actually that's a good gun too, and the price for it,
Yeah.
like it's not bad. Like
Or just grabbing the shotgun from is it Jaeger who has the
Nerf gun.
oh yeah, his
Yeah.
Nerf gun.
bad boy. Yeah.
Yeah, the
like,
Nerf gun's awesome.
getting this one and just literally spamming it out. But when I used this, I thought it was terrible.
Yeah, it's
Like
bad. It's hard to
it's
manage.
so bad. It's so bad. Even if you like obviously taking the flare off, but it was just so bad. I was like, this is just worse than an MP. But there's
Have
so
you
many.
tried the fully automatic version of the Saiga?
Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
I mean, it
I mean,
still shoots
yeah.
so slow that it's about the same as shooting the semi-auto. Like obviously, where it's so big and being 12 gauge, it can't really have a fast fire rate anyway. So there's not much difference.
Yeah. It's like using something like this. Like, when you find one of these and you're like searching around early wipe trying to find a weapon, like this is the only one you find. You ran out of ammo and you're like, damn it. And like you just
Yeah.
can't take anyone out. Like you hit him we hit him with a shotgun and it just does nothing.
Right. Or
And then
I don't know
occasionally
if you played when the double barrel, it was bugged. So if you shot it in double tap mode, it just wouldn't work. And it was funny because I was watching a few people. I was watching Aqua FPS. He was running around using it, like buying it every time, trying to use it, and he didn't know. Like his chat was trying to tell him, but he didn't believe him, and he just kept dying, and he couldn't kill anybody, and it's because it was bugged.
That's hilarious. It's fucked up.
Yeah, it was funny. He just kept dying.
Yeah. Okay, we've been recording for almost 3 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and read out the outro,
Yeah.
and then we'll end it there. We can keep chatting after that, though.
Yeah, cool.
Huge thanks to Nutshell for coming on and hanging out, and we appreciate all you guys watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to like and comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to stay current on all of our content. We'll catch you next week. See ya.